All right. And I guess we're live. So, what's up, everybody? I'm Dustin Coiner from Talkin Motorbikes, TrackDaz, etc., etc. Tonight, I'm really excited. We got this cool guest on. I've actually seen this dude since he was an amateur yellow plate dude at Chuckwalla, and I've watched him progress. Amazing now, and I've joked with my friends for years, like, oh, dude, we're not. Even if we set the world on fire, we're never gonna get the call to get a ride. And this dude actually got the call. So Anthony Norton's his name. Lugnuts, what everybody knows him by. What's up, Lugnut?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Dude, it's great. Typical Anthony Norton last minute fashion. Those of you who are tuning in, you'll probably learn that I'm just gonna talk shit. Whatever.
Yeah, go for it. I deserve it.
It was literally like 2 minutes ago. Anthony was still trying to figure out how to turn his earpods or AirPods on. I was
Not
like,
even that.
bro.
I couldn't even get logged in, man. Like you're sitting there freaking out. I'm like, bro, I gotta hang up with you. I can't.
I'm like, bro, we got 2 minutes. Like, what the fuck?
Final call. Final call.
Yeah, dude. Like, dude, they're gonna close the grid any second, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be my first time. I started from Hot Pit, so.
Yeah. Oh man, super funny, man. Super funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, thanks for joining us for this. Everybody wants to know club dudes stepping up. And you were presented with a unique opportunity recently, but I kind of. Oh, and by the way, I am rocking the Norton T-shirt.
Turn around.
I don't want to turn around.
Oh,
I'm not turning around. That's nah. But it says something about you not giving a fuck or something. And anybody that's watched you ride kind of knows that, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about like what got you into motorbikes to begin with.
That's a long story, man. So,
Dude, we got
honestly,
I got nothing to do. Fucking
all right.
start talking.
You guys got all night. All these people got all night. That's good, man, because I can talk my ass off.
Yeah, all 7 fans of the show.
I was gonna say 7. I thought 3, so we're already doing better than I imagined. That's great.
It says there's 9 watching right now. So
Hell yeah.
I don't.
That's great.
Yeah.
As soon as we went live, I got the notification. I was like, oh shit! I almost hit the notification to watch you like I normally would. But hey, I'm on the show this time.
yeah, you're the guy. So So let's hear it, man. What got you started?
What's funny is like I was a little kid and I was always I told mom and dad I want a little bike, I want a motorbike or whatever. Dirt bike was what it was back then. And it never happened. Mom didn't want to see it happen, and so I never did. But I got into racing anyway, stock car stuff. I was always a wrench, and then went to off-road stuff. Got a dirt bike, and I was going to the desert every 3-4 days when I had a day off. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to buy a street bike so I can ride every day. Bought a street bike, rode for a while, decided that being an idiot was smarter than being responsible, so stopped riding street bikes and eventually we'll save some of that story. We don't need to go there. But eventually found
we're getting the Cliff Notes version. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hey, young guys make mistakes, man. I got in some trouble, and that was the end of me having fun for a little while. I had to change directions, and eventually life brought me back to a point where I actually had a truck and blew a motor, and so I bought a used motorcycle and I started like riding back and forth to work. And, I was a stunner, I was out there doing wheelies, getting pulled over by the cops when I stopped and all that dumb stuff like we do when we're young and dumb. Right.
Yeah.
Eventually I ended up buying a bike from the dealership I worked at. It was a Dodge dealership, and they took a bike in on trade, and it was a 16 Kawasaki.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, cool. Like I'll buy this thing and I'll flip it and I'll make $5,000 because they stole it from the guy.
Okay.
So I bought it with like 600 miles on it in 2017 for $7,000. And so I could have turned around and sold it for like $12,000 the next day. I rode it once and I was like, wow, this thing's pretty awesome. It was the most rad bike I've ever ridden. So rode streets around for a little while, and like a year and a half later, finally did my first track day. And, you kind of have seen the story since then, but that's basically my story of how I got to, at least to a racetrack.
So, I mean, how did you decide to go club racing in the first place? Being like the ultimate street squid dipshit, and then
100%.
What brought you to the track in the first place?
So it's kind of funny looking back because my first bike was an SV 650, and I still love those things. Like they're turds, but they're so fun. Like I don't know.
They have like the transmission of a tractor. right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it definitely has like a John Deere engine of some sort or Caterpillar
Yeah.
engine of some sort, like 0 horsepower. But, it was fun. But when I got that thing, I'd be clutching up wheelies on the freeway, like 4th gear wheelies on the freeway. And people are like, oh my God. And then we'd go for canyon rides because I grew up in Southern California. It was great canyon riding down there. And some of the old timers like, man, you really need to go to a track. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm having fun
Now,
doing what I'm doing.
why would I pay to ride when I could just do this canyon shit for free, right?
Absolutely.
Dum 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 dum.
Yeah. After eating a couple guardrails and stuff, I was like, hey, maybe they're right, but I still never did it. God, it was in 2018 finally. So I got my first bike in 2007.
Yeah.
So it was 2018 finally when I bought this Ninja and I was riding around with some dudes on the street. This club that I was riding around with, they're like, hey, like we're gonna do this track day, you should come. And at that time I was heavy into going to like Palomar and some of the places down there.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine, I'll go. So rented a truck from some rental place, threw everything in the back of the truck, went out there having no idea what I was doing.
What's out there? You went to Chuckwalla or Buttonwillow?
No, Buttonwillow.
Oh, you went to Buttonwillow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first track day.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was Let's Ride or Pacific Track Time. Pacific Track Time, right? PTT. So it was one of those two. But went there and I think I was riding B group or whatever, and I was holding my own. It was cool. It was fun. I was like, wasn't dragging knee or anything crazy like that. Track's a lot different than riding the canyons. And so I remember watching A group, and I couldn't tell you who it was, but there were some badass dudes out there and they're flying. And I'm like, dude, I want to do that. I want to be that,
Yeah.
So it was just impressive, man. And so I basically went home after that track day. It was a couple months later. I went to my next track day, which is Chuckwalla.
Okay.
And bike was still in street form, nice KRT 2016 ZX10, not a scratch on it. After I got home from that, I talked to somebody there. I couldn't even remember who it was. It probably somebody who isn't even around anymore. Like, hey, you should do this NRS thing and go racing. And I was like, huh. I took the bike home. I cut the wires for the headlights, took everything off, threw a set of bodywork on it, and I did my NRS. I think it was December of 2018. So that
through me.
My first race.
You did your NRS through me.
I did.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I still remember that day. It was terrible. Like, oh, it's great. I'm sorry. It wasn't terrible, but like, God.
I remember how you were such a dick.
Yeah, you were a complete dick. I'll be honest. I always thought you were a dick for the longest time.
Oh, thanks.
I did. I like you now.
Just a heads up.
Not bad.
I kind of am a dick sometimes.
I know. But that's okay. It's all right. I know lots of dicks and assholes and everything in this sport, but once you break the ice a little bit, things are good.
Yeah.
I think honestly, once I started getting a little bit faster, you started not being such a dick to me, or at least opening up a little bit more. So
I don't know. Maybe I just was like, was I kind of treating you like the fucking new guy? Is that what?
Probably. Like, this guy's going to last 6 months and he'll be gone. So fuck it. I don't need to waste my time on him.
Let me ask you this. I've ridden with you quite a bit, right? Yeah, I mean, you've come out and ridden with me at Buttonwillow, and
you and I had a good time.
Yeah, we strafed through traffic. I think it was my last R1, the one I threw in the trash last year. Before we turned it into a race bike, I threw a shock on it, and it's still stock. And you and I were just strafing traffic, and I was like, man, fucking this Norton dude's going good. And that was like 2020.
Yeah.
This is like before. Yeah, that was before you like really, really got fast. But like you were
I think
progressing.
We were doing like 50s at Buttonwillow.
Yeah,
I was in traffic
at a track
and
day.
We were just mobbing. Yeah.
And I'm like on a stucker with like lights and mirrors,
Yeah, it was pretty rad, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, but riding with you that day, I was like, fuck, this dude's rolling. Like, I was like, man, and so ever since that day, like that we rode together, like you and I have been talking pretty regular since then, right? So
yeah, for sure. I think that was cool for me and you, because like we never really got a chance to do that before. Like, you quit racing CVMA and you were kind of off doing your own thing, and Buttonwillow, like I got out there a few times and raced, but we never had the chance to grid up together or anything.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the first time we actually rode together.
Oh, for sure. And it was like, oh, this dude can fucking ride. So I was like, he can hang out now.
Thanks.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. He's not a complete squid.
I mean, he's still like 3/4 tarded, but like, so am I. So like,
I
it works.
I think to race motorcycles, you have to be pretty retarded. Like we joke about it all the time. Like, dude, this is the dumbest thing in the world to do. Like, who thought originally, like, hey, let's race motorcycles. Let's go in circles as fast as we can.
I think the first people that rode them.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
To guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
like if there's two motorcycles and two dudes on them, there's a race happening.
Somebody's got to be faster than the other, right? Like,
Right.
that's just dudes. Like, oh yeah, oh you got a bike too? I bet you can't go as fast as I can.
Right. There
you go. Now we're motorcycle racing.
Yeah, I mean, so back then, up until obviously 2020, I was writing all the CVMA press releases and stuff, and I was like, man, who the fuck is this guy, Norton guy? Like, I kept having to write your name in all the releases. When you were coming up through an amateur, I think you won your first race, right?
I did actually. Tor?
Yeah.
All right. He hates this story, by the way.
Dude, let's tell it then.
Oh, we're telling it. Yeah. So like, it's kind of funny because this made us buds, but he watched my NRS and he's like, oh shit, like maybe I got to watch out for this guy this weekend, And, truth be told, like I showed up at Chuckwalla doing like 2 minutes or whatever. But ended up finding like 56s on my first weekend. And Tor was actually going better than that at that time. And he was leading the amateur championship, and that was his whole goal that year to win the championships or whatever. So the first race, like I got the whole shot, and he's like, "What the hell?" And so he tries to throw a pass on me, ends up off in the dirt, and he was legitimately faster than me this time. But I rode 5.5 laps at the front of this race. Like, what the hell? I'm winning this race, And all of a sudden, on the backstretch, him and his cheater motor come past me, and
cheater motor.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
Okay.
But he blows my doors off, man, right into turn 10. And I'm like, dude, there's no freaking way that I'm losing this race. Like, I led 5.5 laps. I'm not losing. So I stuck to his rear tire. I just sank my teeth in. And going into turn 3, we're going whatever counterclockwise or whatever, 3, 2, 1. So going into turn 3, we came up on a lapper. Or no, it was the back of the expert grid because it was a 2-wave start.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So we come up on the back of an expert, and I was like, I don't care. I pulled the old Tony Elias and drove straight to the apex on the brakes.
Oh, dude.
And yeah, and I kind of like, you had to like kind of stand up a little bit because I kind of spooked him, But then we come around on the front stretch, and he got a hell of a drive, and it was a half a bike length, but I won, and I was like, hell yeah, that was a blessing and a curse, let me tell you, because now,
you win your first one, and then all of a sudden you think you're gonna win all of them. Right?
Yeah. Well,
I can relate to that, dude. I mean, I my first weekend at Willow Springs, it was raining like crazy.
Was this in like 1943?
Shut your whore mouth. First of all, you. It was in the 90s, all right? It was at the end of the 90s. And it was pouring rain, and like it was literally my first weekend. I was like a commuter 3 weeks before, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be just like riding to work. And we're running like whatever shit DOT tires that we bought from Chaparral, my friends and I. And yeah, dude, I ended up leading the thing by like almost a full lap,
Oh my god.
And then I was like, I win, I get the $400 of Michelin money, and I was like, yeah, dude. And then I came out the next month, and that was right when the R6 came out. And the next month, it was like everybody had an R6.
Different story.
Yeah, and I was like, I was still on this like mid-90s Honda steel frame carburetor piece of shit, and the Yamaha R6 came out, and everybody that had one just ruined everybody.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But I can totally relate to what you're saying, though. Like, you win your first one and you think, and then
we're there.
Yeah. And back then, like, the difference between what you experienced and what I experienced is like when I came up, dude, you didn't get a bunch of races. Like, we just got the one race on Sunday at the end of the day, like novice.
I think I remember talking to you about that.
Yeah, actually. Like middleweight novice or, open novice, you would get that. And then you'd have to sit around with your thumb up your ass all day on Sunday after morning warm-up and get your race in at like 2:30, 3 o'clock.
That's so tough.
And that's your one race. And amateurs today, like yellow plate dudes, they'll do like 4 to 6 races on a weekend.
Well, how much, like at CRA, like there was, for every rider, you had an opportunity to race 4 or 6 races or whatever.
Yeah.
Down there at Podium Club. So like, it's pretty cool, man. It's cool. Like, I love seeing the direction the clubs are going. You know, there's like all like even the little bit of amounts of money, like everybody's got these class sponsors coming in and they're throwing a few $100 towards a race or whatever. But like for me, I remember the first time I got a dime from racing, and I felt
Oh,
amazing. I was like, wow, you just gave me $100 to do
yeah.
this. Like, this is cool. Like, I'm quitting my job. That's
You're
it.
like, I'm pro now. I got 100
That's it.
bucks. I'm
Yeah,
basically a pro rider now.
that's it. Like, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. Like, sorry, work. I'm not coming back ever.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're morons.
Yeah. True. Back to the point of being 3/4 retarded, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, look, I've won a few things over the years, and I actually raced the Toyota 200, like at 2006 or something.
I
Dude,
wish they still did that. That'd
dude,
be
I
cool.
finished like 20th or something, or 21st, and I got a huge, the biggest trophy still to this day that I own is from that. And I think I got
For
paid
20th?
for 21st, and I got paid like $2,500.
Cheese and rice.
But the winner was getting 50, right? So it was like 50, 30, 10, and then it would go all the way down. I think the dude in like 30th still got $1,000.
That's
I
wild,
think
man.
just qualifying, you got $1,000.
I mean, what's that? So the Daytona 200 is huge like that here, and then the Loudon Classic. I know that's a
Yeah,
huge payout, right?
yeah.
Or
People
something
are.
close to
Is
that.
that's this summer, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know when. It's in New Hampshire, right?
yeah,
Some place like
yep.
that. Yeah, I know. Like, there's some big names on the entry list. A couple of guys were talking to me if I wanted to go. I'm
You
like, dude, that's
should,
such a,
dude.
I should, but that's such a hike. I think
Yeah,
it's a 600 race too, and I'm not really like. It's funny on the 600s. I'll go out and ride one time, and I'll be like pretty good, and then the next time I'm like 4 seconds off. I'm like, what the hell, dude? It's just like
yeah.
it's different, you know? Definitely
Yeah, I
different.
mean, there's a couple of club racers trying to scumbag me into like some Weir race or whatever it is at Pittsburgh, like a weekend before the national
Oh
there, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm looking it up, and I'm like, bro, that's a hike.
But you should, especially if you don't have to take your own bike or whatever. Just fly in and race.
Well, I don't know. I don't. How would I get my bike there? You know what I mean?
It's an N2 race, right? Endurance
I
race.
don't fucking know. Like whatever.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd be down, but I'm like, dude, the drive on the truck and trailer and everything. Nah, dude.
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
got. I have a
that
day
leads
job,
to.
man. Like,
I know exactly. That leads to a whole other conversation that we're gonna have
yeah,
tonight. I mean, we can spring it now, but like, you know, God, what a chore to travel and race, man. Like it is. It is so tough for
bro.
like guys like us.
Dude, it was tough to go to Podium Club a couple weeks ago. That's like
I
seven
know.
hours in the
I
trailer one
know.
way,
I
dude.
know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got
It,
to take days off of work and you
yeah,
got to, like plan ahead a little bit. And
yeah.
then you get out there. What if something happens? And, what do you got? Like, it's just, yeah. I mean, I know what if something happened to me, but yeah.
Bro, who are you talking to, right?
Yeah.
So
I know.
let me ask you this. Like, I love talking to guys like you because you're guys like me, basically, right? And then
Mhm.
club racers, we all come from different backgrounds and we all have different jobs and everything. And the one thing we all have in common is this stupid sport that we love and participate in actively. So what is it exactly that you do for a living to be able to be this motorbike racer guy?
Do have a pro motorcycle racer?
Yeah, uh-huh.
No.
Shut the fuck up.
Actually, yeah, I know. So I worked at a Chrysler dealership forever, and me and my babe Stace over there, we moved up to Vegas in like September,
Oh, wow.
and so when we moved up here, I took a job with Snap-on corporate, and so I work for Snap-on in automotive shops, but I work with like their big equipment, not like hand tools, so like alignment machines and tire machines and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, but they've actually had me all over. Like April was crazy. Like I was in Denver working when I got the call, as we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
and I was up there for 2 weeks. And then I came home and I was home for a day, and I was at CVMA for I think it was like the last round or whatever at CVMA.
Yeah.
So I went, and then I was home for 3 days, and then I flew to Atlanta, and then I was back home for 3 days, and then I was with you in Podium Club for CRA. And
Right.
so in April, I spent 6 or 7 days at home.
Yeah, good
So
times.
yeah, between work,
Gotta love having a work that like allows that kind of freedom, yeah?
my boss might be watching, so and that's okay because they're super awesome. I love this company; it's really cool. I told him to tune in if he had the free chance or whatever. But the reality is, when I first got hired, I was like, "Hey, man, like this is really important to me. Like I've got at least a few more years in me of doing this stuff, and I want to be able to make sure that I can have the time off of the racing. Like it's part of the reason why I'm changing careers." And they were super cool with it. They're like, "Hey, if you perform, then like we want you happy, do what you got to do, you know? And so they actually tune in to watch the race in Atlanta and stuff like that. They always ask me how it's going with the racing, and they're very supportive. I mean, it's Snap-on, right? Like,
Right.
we're in the industry. Like, we're car people, we're bike people, you know, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember a few racers over the years seeing that they were sponsored by Snap-on, you know, back in the day. Like, if I recall correctly, Chris Siglin, I don't know if you know who that is, but Siggy was sponsored by Snap-on tools. So, I mean,
Is that where Chad got the Siggy thing from?
no, Chad,
Oh, Stiggy.
yeah,
Never
the
mind. All right,
Stiggy
yeah,
is like a Top Gear reference, I think. You know,
okay. I gotta watch more TV.
they're trained racing. It's long past, but it was this British show, and they're like, oh well, we got to turn and see how fast the Stig, you know, our trained racing driver or whatever, and they would say some stupid shit about him, and you know they'd see him in the car, it's just a plain white helmet. He'd be driving some crazy car, doing some ridiculous lap time, and while like classical music was playing on the radio. So
makes sense now that you told me that. I never knew where I was coming from.
Yeah.
I should have just asked Chad, but I had no idea.
Yeah, Chris Siglin, they just called him Siggy, you know.
Gotcha.
I think
actually SDK, I noticed he's got Snap-on his sleeves of his leathers. So maybe, like, I don't know really what the affiliation there is, but
yeah.
I keep talking up the corporate ladder, like, hey guys, like, you know, I race motorcycles, and you know,
you're like, hey,
I can use a sponsor.
You're like, hey, me too.
Yeah.
Hi, right? I'm over here. Me too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you guys actually know me. Like, come on, help me out.
Right on.
Like, yeah, you're sponsored, and the deal is you go to work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we'll give you money at the end of the week. And I'm like, all right, cool. I guess that works too.
Yeah. So you know, the last couple of years, and I've watched your progress. I mean, you're at Chuckwalla winning races, and you rocked the number 2 plate, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you win another single digit this year? Or?
Yeah, I'm right behind Corey again this year. So
you got another 2 plate?
Yeah.
You're rolling your eyes at the 2 plate. Wow,
dude, you know how it is, man. You go out there and win a race, and you PR, and you're like, shit, I could have went 2/10 faster. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not every weekend. I mean, let's be real. Like Corey Alexander, Dave Anthony, Bryce Prince, like Ezra was out there, and he just dominated Road Atlanta. Caleb was out there. Like, there's always stiff competition there.
Yeah,
I'm very fortunate to have the success that I do. Like, obviously, the track I know well.
Yeah,
and I get to run my favorite tires, Pirellis. Right? But you know, I've been really close on some weekends. Like, you know, Corey, the last race round, I was like right there with Corey and Dave. The shootout, I kind of lost a little ground at the beginning, and I didn't reel it back in. But man, it was fun to be able to battle with guys like that. And it's super cool to share the podium with guys like that, because let's face it, like, I'm just a blue collar badass, and I come to race on the weekends. You know, like, I don't get to ride Monday through Fridays. Sometimes I don't ride between race rounds. Like, I'll show up a month later, and it's the first time I've sat on my bike in a month, you know? So
yeah,
pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that is so cool that you've been able. I mean, I look at your wood behind you, right? Like, you've definitely had a bit of success there, including that cool championship belt. I really dig that. I'm
going to put that on camera real quick.
Bro,
because
that is
this would be cool. Shout out number 1. Thank you to my Apex Assassins team and Richard Finley. We got the Belt Bros. We got our Send It Award, which is your boy Ty Bangford. And we got our Track Day Champ, which is Captain Jack Daniels' is new bike, Mr. Nick.
Okay.
So these belts are pretty badass, though. Like, this was rad, man. It was really cool.
Of all the shit that's on your thing, that's the first thing my eyes went to. I was like,
hey. That's the first thing you asked about. Yeah. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, I was like, hey, CV May's doing championship belts. I was kind of pissed.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's a cool idea, but Richard came up with that one, and, like, all the credit, man. I was like, dude, this is the coolest trophy I got, hands down.
Yeah, I mean the CRA club last year, you know, when I was still part of the ownership, right? Dude, I'm so stoked to not be doing that no more. But man, bro, right? This is a lot. But you know what? My friends Tiffany Burkett and Hollywood from Colorado, I think they just moved to California recently, but Tiffany was like, hey man, do you think it'd be cool to make some belt buckles for some of the champs of that series? I was like, hell yeah.
Super rad.
So dude, they made 5 buckles, and only 3 people won them because three people won 2 buckles, you know, or 2 people won 2, right?
Yeah. Gotcha.
I think Bryce might have won 2 of them, but It's dude, it was like one of those rodeo ones, like legit, like big
Yeah,
gold plate. Yeah, the thing was
that's rad,
bad
dude.
to the bone, dude.
Super cool.
Yeah, and I was like, man, you know what? I kind of like that idea better than the championship belt, right? Because it was
Yeah.
like very, I don't know what the word would be, ornate, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, you could like showcase them in like a little,
Yeah,
whatever.
or you could be
I
a
don't know.
badass and put it on and wear it like,
I
like,
absolutely would.
oh,
Yeah.
dude, totally.
Yeah.
Me too. I was kind of pissed I didn't win one, but
I'll be honest with you. We got an event coming up, Apex Assassins at Chuckwalla. You haven't been there in a while. You might want to come out and ride with us. Just saying. But
dude, hey, I'm gonna pause you just for a second.
all right.
I got told I got told by Cowboy
Mm-hmm.
basically that if I wanted to, I'd come out there and race for free. And I was like, no fucking shit.
Dude, come get your cheeks clapped. Come on.
Maybe, dude. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. It's a lot of effort, dude. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, whatever.
I
Whine and cry
but
about it. That's what we
but
do.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm kind of down, but I'm also
You
like,
should.
eh.
It's funny. I used to watch some of your videos on YouTube or whatever, like when I was kind of studying up on the track or whatever. I'd watch some of your videos, and I picked up a thing or two that I still probably use today. So I know you know how to get around there.
Yeah,
But
it's been a few years, but you don't forget,
I'll tell
right?
you what, June 3rd and 4th, come out to Chuckwalla, ride with your boys, the Apex Assassins. Come have some fun, do a little shootout with us, and see if it
Maybe.
turns you on.
I mean, maybe I'll throw a stalker on. I mean, I got to get my bicycle miles on, you know?
Well, you can pedal. What we're doing is
Dude,
beat the heat, so you can pedal all afternoon.
well,
That's fun.
you know what I'm doing, right? I don't know if I told you, but I'm doing this crazy like this first week of October, I'm doing a 525-mile bicycle ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
We talked about being three-quarters retarded, but I'm pretty sure that's full retarded. You
Yeah,
never
I
go full
mean,
retarded.
but
Yeah.
the good thing is I am raising dough for charity. It's for arthritis, which is perfect for an old fuck like me that still races motorbikes. It's for the Arthritis Foundation, and my goal is to raise like $3,500 for this.
Yeah.
And
I think I've seen that somewhere.
yeah, so basically, by the way, I do have a link to it in the description of this video. So yeah, so click on that, donate. But yeah, so I'm trying to burn like massive miles, man. I'm doing 300 miles this week.
That's pretty wild.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do 100 on Friday.
All right, time for another funny story.
Yeah,
So I got to tell a story. So this weekend, this isn't the story, but this weekend I went to Spring Mountain. Have you ever been there?
dude, I've got a Spring Mountain story. I've been there, but I'll tell it after.
All right. So I went to Spring Mountain. I'd never been there before. And, like I usually run the Pirellis, like I said, but with MotoAmerica, you got to run the Dunlops. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot out there. I decided late Saturday night, I'm going to shoot out there on Sunday, go ride. I'll test on some Dunlops. I didn't expect anybody to be there. Well, I showed up and I knew half the paddock, people that follow me on social, everybody's coming up, but Josh Hayes was there.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, sick. He was coaching somebody or whatever, but I got a good session in with him and it was super fun to ride with him.
dude,
He's
he's so
such a
good.
freaking animal. Oh my God. It's
I love
amazing.
watching him, riding with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about getting your
So,
cheeks clapped. Fuck,
oh, for
dude.
sure, man. But me and him ripped some laps, dude. We went out and he was, in all fairness, he was on a fairly shagged rear tire.
Yeah,
And I was doing all I could to keep up. I was like, I was latching on and it was a good time, man. We had a lot of fun. So, but afterwards we were talking about riding bikes, like pedal biking. And Ty, he bikes too. So Ty was like, hey, like he tried to get me into it. He's like, hey, come take a ride with us. It's gonna be Josh Hayes, I think Rocco, Toby, Corey Ventura. I was like, oh, cool, this will be fun. And he's like, it'll be like 2 hours, we'll do like 30 miles or whatever. We'll be home. I was like, all right, sick. So we take off and we make it from Oceanside to like south of Del Mar, Torrey Pines, and it's been like 34 miles over 3 hours, and we're still pointed away from the house. This is my second pedal bike ride ever.
oh
And
my
like,
God, that's the worst thing ever.
dude, my legs completely gave out. I was like, dude, there's no way I'm getting home. So I told him we stopped. We rested for a minute. I was like, all right, guys, like you go ahead. I know how to get home. I don't want to hold up your ride or whatever. So speaking to like who Josh really is, I come up over a rise and Ty and Josh Hayes are sitting there waiting for me. And I was kind of pissed. I was like, dude, I told you not to wait. I didn't want to wreck your guys' ride. Like, I'll make it. It's cool. Josh was like, dude, nobody gets left behind. Not with this bicycle stuff. You know,
No,
we're
man.
gonna do this. So he literally pedaled stroke for stroke all the way back to Oceanside. We talked about life and bikes and riding and whatever. We just next thing you know, we were home. And I was like, dude, I would not have made it without you, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my road biking experience. But it was like, that was the first time I really got to talk to Josh Hayes, you know, in depth. And I guess he got the most killer mentality, you know, like I
Yeah.
idolize that for sure. So I think that's kind of one of my strengths too. But that guy's still like next level. He's, you know,
He's
a
like,
philosopher of
he's one of
sorts.
those dudes that's like a regular dude like us, but like
Mm-hmm.
he's such a beast that like it's hard to not like be fanboy geeked out while you're
Oh,
hanging with
totally.
him. And I'm just like, bro,
Totally.
I'm
Yeah.
hanging out with
Yeah.
Josh Hayes right now. Like, holy shit, he's actually talking to me.
Quick Snapchat.
Like holy shit, he still knows my name. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I
No.
totally feel you on that, man. Like,
But yeah, so I couldn't do 100 miles, but like we did like 60 or something that day. And I still have a tan line from those nice bicycle shorts. That was
yeah.
months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a couple years ago, one of my guys, I don't know if you met Rob Escalante, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rob, he's like, yeah, let's. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's meet at the Big A. We'll do like a quick little whatever. That quick little whatever was 100 and something miles, dude. And I'm pedaling with him, and
That's stupid.
60 miles in, he's like, bro, my bunt trucker is not doing good. And he's like, I don't know. He's like standing up, and he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, dude, if you stop right now, like, so I like basically pedaled right next to him the rest of the way home. And I was like, bro, if you stop now, what, you gonna fucking put your bicycle in an Uber? What the fuck, dude?
Right.
Like, like get into different gear, spin faster, spin that shit out of your legs. And we got back, and he's like, fuck, man, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But you made it. You helped him make it, right? I
Oh,
mean,
totally,
yeah.
yeah. But then again, I've been on rides with other people, like Chili. Big Chili did a century ride with me. It was, and I'm gonna preface that it was his idea, um, but it was in Ocotillo, and we slept late because we hung out with Ryan Whitman, had sushi in town and stuff. It was great in San
Gas station
Diego.
sushi.
No, dude, we had no.
Real sushi.
Yeah,
Okay.
like we went to Harney in San
Oh,
Diego.
yeah. That place is bomb.
Yeah, so
Do you know the one in Oceanside?
no, the
Okay.
OG
Down in
one,
San
the
Diego.
old
Okay.
school one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That place is really good.
we go down there. It's like us and Whitman, right? And we ate like fat kids and talked shit all night, and we were late to the party basically. So we start late, and the first 25 miles is like stair steps, dude. And
Oh,
Chili was like, "Go ahead and go, man." Right?
yeah.
So I did. I caught him on the way back, but I guess they turned him around at the 40-mile mark because there was
You're
like a
not going to
time
make it.
there was like a time limit or
Yeah.
something. So I caught him on the way back, and we rode. And every time I ride with Chili and talk about the length of the ride now, he's like, "You're a fucking liar." That's the guy that owns CTML, like the sponsor of the Gold
Oh,
Cup.
really? Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Dude, that's so awesome that these guys are getting involved with the road racing stuff, man. Like I love it. Like uh it's easy like Vortex, Galfer or whatever, like right? They have to be. That's their business.
yeah,
But to get some of these guys from the outside coming in and supporting the sport has been really cool. And it's actually making a difference. Dude, I swear at like club level, we just keep growing. Like
yeah,
Utah SBA, right?
yeah,
UMC, they don't have as big a turnouts as you say like CVMA or maybe even CRA, but they've got a really tight club and they're great people. It's a lot
yeah.
of fun. I've done some racing up there, but they had like 31 NRS students last weekend.
Dude, that's awesome.
Phenomenal, right? Like I
Yeah.
had goosebumps when I saw the picture. I was like, dude, this is so cool. It's so cool to see the sport grow like that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw MRA, I think, posted up something too that had a massive.
They had a huge one.
Yeah.
Couple weeks back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
huge
love
one.
seeing that. Like I've been doing the new racer school thing for like 20 years, so like,
Yeah.
it's tough to get excited, but man, when I get like 15 dudes, I'm like, hell yeah, dude.
It's so rad.
And
man. Even this year.
being real, not everybody that does new racer school becomes a racer.
Not at all.
I think people need to realize that, there's no pressure there. And, this sport isn't necessarily for everybody. And, some people just use the new racer school to find out what kind of person they are, And what I mean by that is, are they the kind of person that'll stab their buddy in the neck for a $10 trophy? Some of them are, you know,
Yeah.
and the ones that aren't, you know, some of them will go and race and kind of be like club racer, have fun, you know, at the back kind of guy. And then
Mhm.
some are like, nah, this ain't for me. And then they just go and just keep doing track days, and
Have
that's
you seen
totally
that?
fine.
Dude, it's totally cool. Yeah. I tell people sometimes like, yo, like if you're not, I was just talking to a fellow rider. We were just talking about like general stuff, and I'll go ahead and throw him out there. It's his name's Chris. It's Crossbeam Builders. He's actually helped me out a little bit with my program and stuff like that
Yeah.
too. He builds trick custom homes and stuff. Yeah, you know him, Chris Muesley.
Okay. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
rides
Yeah.
an R1. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great guy. But we were just talking generally about mentality. And I was like, something I do for myself when I get to the racetrack in the morning is like, do I want to go a 10th faster today? Do I want to qualify in the next row?
Yeah.
Do I want to beat that guy in front of me? And if
Yeah.
the answer is no, pack my shit and go home, man. Go ride track days. It's cool. Like the
Yeah.
racing thing is really, you can have fun with it. You can go out and spend laps, you know, but like the further you get down the rabbit hole, the more money you spend. Like, why are you really here? And
Right.
it's really right here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
Curtis
that's it.
Curtis Adams, who's basically like my race dad, right? So
Uh-huh.
Curtis Adams, fucking legend. That dude, you know, when I first started racing, that dude, I saw him on a Friday practice at Willow, and he rolled his bike out of the truck, and I'm like, Curtis, how the fuck is it that you go so fast? And he looked at me, and with a straight face, he was like, look, I know that when I roll this bike out of the trailer, if I'm not capable of doing like a minute 22, this is like a million years ago, Willow. But like, if I'm
Mhm.
not capable of doing a minute 22, the moment I roll this thing out of the trailer, I'm gonna roll it back into the trailer and I'm going home. I'm like,
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
And you know, Curtis has this whole thing about the level of risk that you're willing to take. You know, and
Oh, the risk versus reward balance,
yeah,
right?
so like, you
Yeah.
know, if you're willing to hang it out there, I mean,
Mhm.
do go for it, dude. Like, no, like for me, dude, I'm getting closer to 50 than anything, right? And so I look at it when I'm out riding and I'm like, man, do I really need to? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Fourth is okay. You know, fourth
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, sometimes you make that, even me, like there's times where I'm like, okay, like I evaluate the situation and I ride my race and it's like, dude, there's no way that I'm gonna catch that guy and bring it home. You know, like there's a
Right.
damn good chance that I'm gonna toss it, and this isn't the race that I'm here for this weekend. So I'll settle
Yeah.
once in a while. But like if that's your nature on a daily basis, or if like you don't have that dog in you, you know, like
I mean, I still like getting some, but man, like I'll get some
absolutely.
to where, like, I gotta get it to the point where I can kind of get the tire to move a little bit, you know,
Hmm.
and the bike's moving. It does that shit off the corner where it's trying to wheelie and do a burnout at the same time. I
So
fucking love
fun.
that,
Yeah.
right? Riding 1,000 is
Yeah.
so much fun,
I
and
call it actually Richard called it originally the Giggle Factory, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and steal that. It's totally the Giggle
yeah,
Factory.
yeah, dude, yeah, yeah, fucking love that. That's
Hell
the
yeah,
best feeling in the world. But at the
yeah.
same time, I'm like, dude, am I gonna like let go of the brake lever and shove it under somebody to get a $10 trophy and risk hurting myself
Fuck yeah, you
again?
are. Fuck
Not
yeah.
anymore, man. I'm not doing that, dude. I'm already so broken and ruined for life that I'm just like,
Dude, you're a staple in the sport at this point, though, right? Like you've been around so fucking long that it's like
I
it
used to
wouldn't be the same without you
I
around,
used
you
to
know.
joke
So
that when I was in my 20s, I was like, man, you know it'd be so cool if I was still racing when I'm Jeff Stearns' age. And I'm like older than that now than Jeff
or
was when I
Look at
started.
John Glafke. Like that guy is still an animal on that
Yeah.
bike, and he's the coolest dude. And like he's been doing this a long time, and maybe he just has fun, dude. That's it. Like he just has fun and he races, and I love it, dude.
And
I idolize it. It's
by the
super
way,
rad.
Richard Finley says he's trademark Gigo Factory, and you owe him $6. So
That's all right.
yeah,
Take it out of the tab.
yeah, take it out of
That's
his
cool.
take it out of your salary from Apex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
maybe he should double your pay. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
Well,
double of nothing is still nothing, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not a mathematician. Like I said, I'm half retarded, so maybe that's the truth.
And Bearded Jixer has a couple of questions, but I'll save the other one for later. But this one, he says, punt or be punted, or punt or get punted to me.
Bearded Jixer, isn't that Richard?
No, no. Bearded Jixer is Ernie. Ernie Saucedo, I think.
Oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah. Richard Finley's
Punt or
on
be
there.
punted? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I think Richard is just on YouTube here. His name is just Richard Finley. So
Boring.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
No, bearded jixer. That's right. Stick it in there. Do
Dude,
something
he's
about it.
dude. Ernie wants to get some coaching and stuff. Like he's one of those dudes that's kind of reached a plateau, and he
Mhm.
wants to get just like a little bit quicker because he feels like he could get there. He just hadn't figured out how yet. So I think I'm gonna do a coaching day with that guy and try to help get him up to pace a bit. You
Oh
know?
yeah, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I never had the pleasure, like honestly, and this is a couple of people will reach out to me on Instagram like, hey, talk about this, talk about that. And this is one of the things that, was noted or whatever, like how I progressed.
yeah,
And so for me, I never really did the coaching thing because I was like tires or coaching,
right.
like I had to spend my money somewhere. And so I just kept my ass in the saddle, bro. Like I spent a lot of money on tires and I was riding track days. I swear every other weekend I was either racing or riding for the first 2, 3
We
years of
call that
this.
the school of hard knocks.
And I had a few. I got a couple of helmets up there to
Yeah,
prove
bro.
it.
Yeah, dude. A
Yeah.
few
So,
helmets, like a few helmets.
yeah. So your collection's growing. I actually threw a couple away, but I really like those two, so I kept them. But
Yeah, that's not
yeah,
all of them. I got a stack over
yeah,
here too.
I believe it. But yeah, I mean, so like coaching's a great route, right? For some people,
Yeah,
I think that's what you need. And honestly, like I probably could use some coaching. Like even just riding with Josh this weekend, and we didn't really do any coaching, but we just talked about track and everything. And I have an understanding now where like I can pick up off of that, or like watch something he does and pick up off of that.
yeah,
But I'm even at the point now where like there's things that I'm doing on the motorcycle that I don't really probably know or understand. It's just like I've just learned to do it, and maybe it's right or maybe it's wrong, but it's what I do.
yeah. Well, I mean, a
So
guy like Josh Hayes, I'll
mhm.
give you an example. Like I have a million of these because I've been riding with that dude for years. But a couple years ago, Richard took my R1 with him to a test at the Ridge,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Fucking sweet! I'm gonna get to go ride this new track with 5 dudes on track. It's gonna be great." And so it's like literally me, Cam Bobier, and Jake, and then the M4 team, and that's it. So there's like 5 dudes on the track, right?
That's
So I,
fine.
I was riding the track like 30 minutes at a time for 2 days.
I remember
So
you took that trip. That
yeah.
track's awesome too.
Oh, dude, it's so cool. And
Yeah.
and I think when I was there, they had just paved that chicane thing.
Mhm.
So it was like basically kind of the first weekend anybody was on it.
That was
So
that was before MotoAmerica went there for the first time, correct?
yes, it was
Yeah.
like a month or two before MotoAmerica. So,
Mhm.
we're there riding around, and Josh Hayes standing at the bottom of the bottom of what I call Lombard Street,
Yeah.
because right that
Yeah.
yeah. So he's standing at the bottom of that thing, and he's like, "Coiner, you need to fucking do it." And then he's like, "When you go up into that thing, you gotta clamp them pads together." I'm like, "Okay." He was like, basically like, "Dude, you're being a bitch on the brakes over here,
Yeah.
and like you look like a retard over there, and you gotta fix that." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And dude, like I literally cleaned that up and went like over a second faster, like
Oh
without
yeah.
any
Yeah.
effort change.
Which
The
is funny, a
dude,
guy like that can see it from a mile away.
yeah, and he's
And I
standing
loved
there. I stood there and watched that same corner with him while Bobier was out,
mhm.
and he's like, "See that right there? That's why." He's like, "That's why I don't got a job no more." And I watched it, and sure as shit, dude, every lap at the bottom of that hill, Bobier would tuck the front and then save it by going like this. He would just like
So wild.
tilt his head a little bit, and the front would come back. I'm like, how the fuck do you? And he did it every lap, like it was his line.
That guy's an animal.
So you know,
Yeah.
so
It's so funny that Josh is like, he has no reservations to be like calling you a bitch nicely. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like about braking or whatever. Like he called me out for kind of being out of breath and a little tired at the ridge in my race after an eventful weekend for my
yeah,
first MotoAmerica round. So you remember that. But
yeah,
yeah, but I love that. And then Jason's been huge too, Pridmore. So like just being around Chuck Wall and being around that guy and just talking a little bit here and there, like I probably owe these guys a little bit of money for the coaching just in conversations, but it's great to have people like that around to help.
So let's talk about that. Like, what are you
Sure.
doing for training? Like, are you
Oh
dieting? Like,
man.
are you starving yourself to stay underweight or whatever?
Fuck
And
no, dude. Like that's why I ride a 1000. Not at all. I mean, I carry a lot of weight, dude. I'm just a heavy bodied guy. I always have been, so I'm not Not 160
What's
pounds.
what's a
I've never been.
heavy-bodied guy?
You want to find out?
Bro, you know me. So like I'm like, what's a heavy-bodied guy? What do you
So I'm
think?
185 pounds, dude. Like I just,
Dude,
I'm
I weigh less than you now?
yeah,
Holy
but
shit,
I
dude.
always weigh this. Like
Okay.
I I can't remember the last time I was under 180. And I'll like trim down and I'll be like 179, 180, and that's so no, I don't put a whole lot of effort into it. Like I don't eat terribly. First off, like I eat pretty well, and so I do some hit workouts and stuff. Actually, Ethan,
Yeah.
Southern Pride. So he actually started sending me some stuff, which has been very helpful because it helps to have some organization. And it's quick, dude. Like not even an hour a day, just enough to stay there. But I'll be honest with you, like the way I look at it is kind of what was it, Colin Edwards, like he was like, dude, like I don't train. I don't want to give myself a reason to let myself down. So
Yeah.
he just rides his bike all the time. And that's the best thing you could probably do is
That
just stay
sounds
bike
like
fit.
Stefano Mesa. Like he's not out
Same
running.
thing, yeah.
He's not out
Yeah.
jogging. That dude doesn't have
Yeah.
time to jog. He's traveling to
Just
and from races and racing
he
every
gets to
weekend.
absolutely, dude. And honestly, like that is the best shape you'll ever be in for riding a motorcycle.
Right.
I don't have that luxury, so I got to do a little something to keep me in shape. Otherwise, I go out there and get stomped.
Yeah.
So
I
when
mean,
I
I'll tell
first
you
started,
what. I'll tell you what. Like training hard and I mean, dieting and trimming down. That weekend at Podium Club, I felt so good on the bike,
dude,
dude.
it
You could
it
even
makes it
see
so
it.
much
I
better.
could even see it in my photos. Like I looked like I
Yeah.
could put my body in a better place, and
Yep.
being a giant fat ass, while I could I'd thrown my weight around for years racing motorbikes, but
Yeah.
man,
It takes its toll, man.
yeah,
When I
dude,
was an amateur, I was 215 pounds. I was north of probably. And so once I started racing expert, I decided to like at one point or another, I was like, dude, I got to trim down. So I put in a little bit of work and I trimmed down, and I think I dropped a second everywhere at least. Just
yeah.
having the confidence to like be able to like maneuver the bike and hold on to the damn thing. Not slugging around so much extra weight. It just felt amazing. So
So I got a couple of comments coming in. Josh Fisher
good.
says, "Damn boy, he thick." Right?
Shut up, Josh.
And then
gross.
Barry, Barry from Moto United says,
Yeah, I got a tail section right there for him.
he says,
I'll mail it out
"Lugnut for
tomorrow.
president. He saved your race. You saved his race."
He's talking about that tail section on my floor over there.
Oh, okay.
I got you, boy. It's
Right
all
on.
good. Yeah.
Right on. Such a good dude. It's so
Yeah.
cool getting to hang with that guy at Podium Club a couple weeks ago. I was
Heck
like,
yeah,
man, because that guy,
He was rad.
Barry watches this crap every week, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, dude, it's Barry from Utah, right? And I met him at the circus a couple years ago, and I'm actually not doing the circus this year. I'm just too fucking busy. But I'm sure Barry will be there again doing his thing, doing his Barry
Absolutely.
shit with this like ponytail and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
What a cutie.
yeah. He's a cutie, right? So there you go.
Hey, no, it was actually cool at Podium Club, man. Like all the people from everywhere. We had people from Canada.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
A ton of my friends from Utah were down there.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool, man. And
Dude,
so
I was so
go ahead.
stoked to race that guy from Canada too. I was like,
Absolutely.
wow, he's the number
Brian.
one plate guy. I beat that guy. Like that dude got smoked by a dude that's almost 50.
He's probably watching this, by the way.
That's
so
okay.
Shout out, Brian.
Dude, Brian was cool, man. Like I
He
talked
did
to him
good,
later,
man. He did good.
and
Yeah,
I think
he's a cool dude.
I think he had some arm pump stuff or whatever, and he was having a hard time hanging on. And during the Gold Cup race, like we went back and forth a couple times, and he started looking back, and I was like, "Oh, you're looking back.
You're done.
I got you."
Yeah.
Right? And so, yeah, like we had a good laugh about it after. But yeah, he was like, "Dude, I had arm pump so bad."
So that Gold Cup race was a shit show for me. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Speaking of Utah guys, right? Like, quick story. So we actually, I crashed on lap 2 and like turn 3 or whatever, trying to run down Bryce and Wyatt.
And so you were the other crash because there was, Dion and
Ben Hodges
wiped each other out on the first lap.
If you guys are watching, get well soon.
Oh, dude, I think Dion busted his collarbone, man.
He broke a couple ribs and a collarbone, but he just recovered from a crash that he had at Chuck Walla, man. I'm super bummed for him.
Yeah.
That guy's an animal too.
Dude,
So
I got a front row seat for all that shit off the start
yeah,
going through turn
yeah,
one. Those dudes are like banging off each other. I was like, holy shit. How did I
yeah.
get such a good start? You know, from
Oh
like the
yeah, man.
11th row, you know?
The R1 torque, that attack motor. There you
Man,
go.
dude.
Does it? Uh yeah, so like I didn't know that happened because it happened just behind me. And then I came around for turn two and crashed. So I went to pick the bike back up and take it off the track because they threw a red flag for the other crash. I was like, cool, I can get the bike back together. And somebody came over and was like, hey, you can't cross the track with your bike once it's been down. And I'm like, dude, the track's cold. It's a red flag. Like, I'm taking my bike. And he's like, nah, dude, nah, it's not happening. And I was like, whatever. So I got all pissed off and I threw the bike up against the wall because I'm a racer, man. I'm like, I'm trying to race. Like, that's just the dog in
You're
me,
like, I
right?
just want to ride, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, not only that, but like, Bryce and Wyatt were on another level, okay? But like, I felt like when I started that race, I felt really good. I felt like I had a little something for them, maybe. You know, they ended up going ridiculously fast. So I don't know if I could have hung. But so anyways, like the guy wouldn't let me take my bike back, but he let me cross the track. So I would go back to the pit and Cowboy and Steve and like 10 of the dudes that were from Utah, a couple other CVMA guys, like all were like bam in my pit. And Richard shows up on my motorcycle. Richard ran out there and grabbed my bike and rode it back in the pits after I was told he couldn't bring it back. But speaking of the Utah guys and all that, like the friends I've made everywhere from doing this stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like I've got friends all over the country and like they're
Dude.
true friends. Dude, it's so cool. But like you go to a club race, right? And something like this happens and it's like we would all do this for each other.
Yeah.
But dude, I had a little tip over. It really was nothing, but everybody was there. I had a brake lever guard replaced. I was getting a cold shower. My leathers were getting cleaned. Like I was standing around handing waters to all these guys. Like, hey, thanks, man. Like it was great.
And there was
But
like enough of a delay to where you could get the shit back together
we
and
did.
make the grid and retech and all
Absolutely.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jeff was there, Whitmer. So he was helping out too. So he retected on the spot. And then when we went for the restart, because Dion and Ben had their incident, I knew that Ty was riding really well on his new BPR R1. Give you a shout out on that one. But he was looking really good. And so I
Dude,
was
he
like, man,
was.
I got to put the hammer down and get away from these guys, you know? So I ended up putting a little gap in between. Ty finished fourth, I believe, if I remember correctly. I finished
I
third,
finished like
right behind
literally
him.
right behind him in the Gold Cup.
Like
I was like,
inches, right?
yes, you know?
Like inches. Like
I was like,
you almost threw the pass.
dude, like it looked like he was I don't know. It looked like he was mailing it in. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get him. And I told him after, I was like, bro, you're lucky the race was only this many laps instead of that many laps. You know?
Hey, but
He's
Ty,
like, he's like, whatever. You know? Fucking love that guy.
That's actually how I got all these trophies, by the way. They're not even mine. So
Oh
they're all
yeah.
Ty's. Yeah, he was looking for some money for for that new R1, and so he's selling his trophies. They're all autographed too. So
Oh well, there.
my
I mean,
collection.
you know, Ty is the kind of dude that would do that too. Like he would sell his trophies and autograph them and shit. Like, right? He's a cool guy like
I got a
that.
whole collection. I got a whole
Yeah,
collection
dude.
right here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I think. I mean, dude, I've got a bunch of old like WSMC trophies that I think would be cool to like donate to the local, little league baseball team or something. You know, because that's what
They're
they
like
look like. I mean, they
they're like,
look like.
what geezer gave us these?
Yeah, dude.
Jeez.
Yeah, but whatever. It's there. Like I have bottles of vodka. Like that was pretty weird. You know, like I don't even drink, but I kept the vodka as like a trophy. You know,
Right.
there's like two bottles of vodka right there from
I still
being.
got our shit.
That was from winning.
CRA.
Like how interesting is it that the old shitbags race at CRA pays vodka?
It's very sensible.
I'm stoked on it. I mean, I don't drink,
mean,
but hey, it makes it
At
for a
this
cool
point,
story.
how else do you guys take care of all those creaks and aches?
Marijuana.
There you go. Smart.
Yeah. I don't know. OxyContin. I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah.
whatever the doctor prescribes or whatever.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right,
Totally.
that works. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Changing subject.
yeah. So you're not. So you're basically this badass club racer guy. I fucking love how club racers have this like taking care of each other. You know, the camaraderie, right?
You won't find that anywhere else in the world, man. The racing community is the most badass community, hands down. Like I absolutely love it. 90% of my life is people in it are racing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's just like an amazing community, you know. I mean, we're all a bunch of just stab each other in the neck, and then in the pits we're like helping each other fix our broken shit, right?
But you know, we motivate it. Like somebody also said to me about that. That was another question I got on Instagram. Like, what keeps you motivated? And I thought about that long and hard. Like, obviously, I'm just a competitive dude, and like I just when I sink my teeth in something, I can't let go. Like I have a hard
Yeah.
time saying no. So, but I think the one thing that motivates me the most is the people around me. You know, like you know, obviously there's a lot of young racers who have saw me and my success and they come talk to me and like I always have time for these guys. I mean, right before a shootout is probably not a good time, but like you know, pretty much always make time for these guys and they've become friends and I'm watching them grow and it's amazing, right? But you know, it's those guys like when I get out there and I get a little tired or like I'm not really feeling it that day, it's like, nah, dude, these guys, there's people watching, you know.
Yeah.
There's somebody always watching and you know, like I preach certain things about mentality and everything else
Yeah.
and just that dog in you like I keep talking about and so you got to do it, man. You got to put the hammer down. So somebody asked what motivated me and it's really the people around me, like I said. I mean, you did shit, like I told you earlier. I had a story about when I went from yellow plates to white plates, right? Like
Did I make you turn in a bag of sand?
no, you did not.
Oh, well, you're
You did not.
lucky. You're
Yeah,
lucky.
so do you remember our conversation at all about that?
No, dude.
All right, so cool. So I get a phone call from a Dustin Coiner, and I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, what did I do?" You know. And so my amateur racing career was 2 weekends. So I won a race, and I went home, and then I went back, and I won a race, and I didn't have money for tires for the second day, and Corey gave me an Aussie Dave takeoff, and I was like from CT, and I was like, oh, cool, I can race, and I went out there and won on it, and it was pretty badass, you know. So
Right.
I had over 100 points, and CVMA was like, oh, you get over 100 points, you go expert. So you called me immediately after the season was over. I had 100 and something points, and you're like, hey, dude, like, guess what? You're going expert, and I was like, freaking the fuck out. I was like, dude, like
You were
I have
now
no
I'm
idea what I'm
remembering. I'm
doing.
like,
Yeah,
did I was like, dude, why you gotta be a little bitch? Like,
straight up, you're like, why you got to be a little bitch, right? Like you totally laid my dick on the table, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna swing. You can move or not. That's up to you. And I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. Because you told me straight up, you're like, hey, what do you want to do? You want to beat up on the new guys, or you want to go out there and see what kind of fucking man you are, you know? And I was like, God damn it! Like I can't now. I have to. I don't have a choice. So there I went, expert white plates. You
yeah,
know?
full scumbag you into going
You
to
did
expert.
totally, but you know
Yeah.
what? Thank you, because honestly, like I learned so much. Like my first race in expert had Bradley Ward,
Yeah, dude.
Dave Anthony, Alex Dumas, who's still killing it up in Canada. Like
Dude, I
if you
think I
following
was
him at
I think I
all,
was out injured.
you were out injured.
Yeah.
But like Chad was there, Chad Lewin, obviously Mikey Gilbert, and like
Yeah.
the list goes on. I was like you just said, 11th row, but dude, I was like mom spaghetti, you know, like I was like getting ready to puke, dude. My leg was shaking like this on the grid, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I even doing here? I don't belong here, you know.
You're like, I'm a
And
total fraud. They're gonna know.
absolutely, absolutely. But you know what? That first race, like somebody closed the door on me super hard, and I was like, oh shit, now we racing, you know. And so I learned so much in the first expert race that
Yeah.
I went. And the first expert season, I actually didn't do a full season. I only did a few rounds actually. Um, but it was the best, man. I was just talking to another guy in Utah, and he's a novice, and he sent me a picture of his bike. He's like, I'm about to wrap up this novice championship, and I was like, what do you mean novice? Like you're an expert. Like get out of here. He's like, oh, I didn't get enough points. I said the points thing is to keep people from sandbagging. It's not to hold people back. Like
Right.
you know, I gave him the
I
same
mean,
exact speech.
look, dude, you could certainly race for an amateur championship. I have no beef with that at
Right.
all. Like, if you want to do that, fucking have at it. But man, like one of the things that I struggled with being part of government, um,
Mhm.
right? Like, I'm no longer part of government anymore. It's fucking great. But like one of the things I always struggled with from CVMA and from CRA was that the dudes that were finishing like fifth and sixth were like, sweet, we can win now. I'm like, bro, you're missing the point of amateur racing to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, like, I
Yeah.
mean, I think I look at amateur racing like this. Like, it should be a way for you to learn how to go racing.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's not
bro,
about speed or lap
you're
times or
finishing
anything.
5th and 6th or 7th or whatever. Like, so fucking what if you didn't win? Guess what? You learned how to race. Now you're expert, and
Right.
you'll still be finishing in the positions that you are behind the guys in front of you that are expert too. And you could probably learn something in there and maybe get in the mix, and but
Absolutely.
some people feel like that you have to win amateur before getting promoted to expert, and I don't agree with that at all.
Dude,
Um,
honestly, not like I mean, and I preach opposite. I'm like, dude, like if you want, like we are talking earlier, if you want to go that 10th faster, like if you want to be a better racer, if you want to be faster, like you're only holding yourself back, you know. And there's
yeah,
certain people that they can't deal with the fact they can't eat that humble pie, man. It's a tough one. Like I get it. Like there's some egotistical people out there. That's not every amateur, but
no,
there's some
no,
egotistical people out there that have a hard time with it. There's people who aren't confident enough, or somebody hasn't told them like, "Hey, you can do this." You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So
And the
I
thing
try to
is,
be that guy. Like, hey,
the
you can do it. Let's go.
the loudest voices were the ones that were all like, should I call them out by name? Yeah, fuck it. They're probably still out at Chuckwalla, but man, there's a couple guys that are expert now, and they're kind of stuck in their same lap time or whatever. But um, fuck it, I'll just say it. I don't care. I'm not part of government
Um,
anymore. But uh, David Kolb and
dude, Kolb's flying now,
is
man.
he? And then
Oh
what's
my
the other
god, he's
guy's
doing
name?
great.
Simon Barrett was the other guy. And
Also
man,
doing better.
every year they put up a big fight. They wanted to stay in amateur, and I was like, guys, you're doing 53s. Like, you finished 4th or whatever in 600. Like, move up, man. And I don't know. You said Kolb is flying now, so good on
Yeah,
him.
man.
You
Yeah.
know, is he sub
Simon's
50?
gotten faster too. Yep.
No
Yep.
shit.
Yeah, consistently. I mean, he
Wow,
ran like a whole shootout, like the 49s or something like
that's
that. He might have
awesome.
even. I don't even know if he went faster. I know for a fact he went that fast, but that's great, dude.
That's great,
That's great.
dude. And like Simon was, he was basically like, I think he got down to like 58s or something on whatever pile he was riding, and
Mm.
he was kind of there on whatever pile he was riding. So I mean, I get it. You don't want to go and like their reasoning behind it was that, oh well, it's more effort to go expert. I'm like, it's not really. Like, you'll just instead of
To each their
finishing
own, man. Like
instead of
there's
finishing 5th or whatever, you're finishing 11th.
there's some people like that. Like maybe it's not like me, right? Like me, I want to see. I really want to see how far I can go. You know, like I want to see who I can battle with and go up that ladder. And sometimes maybe that's not what they're doing there. Maybe it's about having fun with your friends. And like there's some people that they never get beyond that in racing, and it's cool. Like that's what you want out of
Right.
this. I think somebody told me a long time ago, like this sport will give you what you want out of it,
Yeah.
but it's about what you put into it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
eat, sleep, and breathe this shit, and you'll get somewhere.
Yeah, totally. And
Mhm.
I mean, your boy Billy Russell and I, like, we kind of boxed a little bit the first season of CVMA because, a
I
couple.
could not imagine that. Two assholes.
Shut
Like,
your, you know. No, the boxing was like he was kind of like not agreeing that I was like telling his buddies to go to expert, and
oh, gotcha.
one of his guy, I can't remember what the dude's name was, Shane something, um, Campstra maybe. But dude, like at the end of that first season of CVMA, like I'm like I took Ziploc bags, I went out to the desert and filled them with sand and gave them to him, and I was like, okay, at the banquet tonight, you got to turn this in. You got to turn in this sandbag, and you're expert now. And like I tried to make it fun, and funny, but Bill was super insulted by it, and like we had words, man, and it
He's
worked
not one to
out.
hold his tongue.
It
Yeah.
worked out, it worked out, and like I don't like cheating, and I don't like fucking sandbaggers either. Like I have zero respect for cheaters, just like I have zero respect for sandbaggers. So, but there's been a couple of guys that I've seen over the years that come out swinging, dude. Like they come out, like I'll be straight up, dude. Chad Lewin, the first time he was at the track, he was ripping. Like
Mhm.
you know, and I've seen a lot of dudes like that. Cam Bobier, you know, Benny Solis. When he, dude,
Yeah.
Benny Solis, his first track day, no shit, he was like wobbly, you know, like I was gonna throw him out, and his dad was like, come on, pork chop, let my boy ride, you know, and you know, we let him ride, and then all of a sudden he's like ripping. So, you know, I've seen all sides of that shit, right? And
Mhm.
you know, when wants to stay an amateur because they think they can beat up on the real amateurs, that just never sat right with me. Um, and being part of government, it was really hard to tell them what I really thought, you know. But
Of
now I'm like,
course.
hey
Yeah.
man, you know, like you don't have to go like you don't have to go race for amateur championship. Like if you're winning everything, the fuck are you gonna learn? You know, like
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it. Like if you're out there beating up on everybody in amateur, like it's time to move up, man. You know?
For sure. Yeah. For
So,
sure. Because otherwise, you're not going to get any better.
yeah.
You know. And that's
And,
like, I mean, we talked about me and like, you know, I think maybe we'll talk about this next, but like getting the call, right? Like
yeah.
that didn't come because I chased an amateur championship. That came because I wanted to chase the fastest fucking dude at the track that day, whoever it was. I don't
Right.
care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and you
So
have, dude. I'm so
yeah.
proud of you, man, watching you
Thanks, man.
progress like
Thanks.
that. And
Yeah.
it's so fun watching you and like talking to you through something, you know, like you talked to me a few weeks ago about a couple of different things with the way you ride and the way you understand a track. And you know, I've talked to you and I've talked to Jack Backen, like that dude got
Mm.
quick too.
Yeah. He's a
I hopefully he's
beast.
gonna come back to riding pretty soon. I know he busted
Dude,
his
I thought he was
back.
going to join us at Podium Club,
Dude,
but
I thought so too when I saw him. I was like,
mm,
bro, but
yeah.
he didn't ride. You know, but
Yeah.
dude, when you break your back, that shit takes a minute, you know? Um,
I mean, it's kind of how I got my opportunity,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh,
So,
yeah, right? I mean,
yeah.
so yeah, let's talk about getting the call, dude. Like that's something that we all joked about. You know, I even said it at Podium Club. I was like, bro, I just dropped 2 seconds, right? But I was like, fuck, I'm not setting the world on fire. And quite frankly, even if I did, I wouldn't get the call. Like that's the joke I've
Right.
made for 20 years. And
Mhm.
you actually did get the call. So I'm like, holy shit, that's so cool.
I was like, bro, I
You
think you guys
told me
dialed the
before the
wrong phone
release too.
number.
I was
Yeah.
like, yes.
Yeah. We talked. Actually, there's a few people close to me that I knew wouldn't go blab. I was like, dude, I got to tell somebody, like, this just happened. So, and actually, like, word got to Richard because I don't think they had my phone number or whatever. And so Richard actually was like, hey, I want to call him. And so Richard called me and was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, there's a bear shit in the woods, but like, that doesn't mean it's happening. He's like, no, it's happening. And I was like, what? So, talk to George and Mike and. I obviously need to say, like, for Brandan, like, that dude is a phenomenal rider. And honestly, I wish he was on the bike because, like, I really thought that this could be his year. I thought he was going to go out there and win the championship. But, he had the injury. And so they needed somebody to fill in for Team Altus Motorsports on the
Yeah.
Stock 1000. And that's the call I got, man. And so pretty stoked. Pretty rad,
Yeah.
man. I didn't think that would ever happen either, to be honest with you.
Dude, George Nassani is such a good dude too. Like that whole
Dude,
family,
absolutely.
Jarrett, right?
Absolutely. Jarrett, yeah.
Yeah, like they're
Yeah.
such good dudes. I
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of respect for George's program, and you know I know they're mixing things up and trying some stuff. I know they lost their crew chief this year, right?
They had
Uh,
a rough
like
offseason,
right
man. Like,
after Daytona, I think,
yeah,
right? Like I think he was at
I
Daytona
think it was just before.
just before Daytona.
Yeah, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly. Yeah.
yeah. The dude, you know, just straight up just had a heart attack, like or
Well,
whatever,
Eric
and
was like a staple for those guys
yeah,
too. Like, he was a major part of the team, but like he knew his shit, and he was a big reason why that team had the success that they did in the
yeah,
recent years.
yeah,
So that was a huge loss for them. And I know, like they said, George and Janet and Jarrett and the crew, like, they're all great freaking people, man. They're
yeah.
they're just super cool people.
It's
So like, it
crazy
was
that
rough.
this massive national racing effort comes out of a dealership that's in a
Hmm.
town this big in bumfuck Oklahoma, right? Like,
Yeah, man.
what the hell,
Yeah.
dude?
Yeah, but they've won national titles and everything
Yeah,
too doing
dude. I
it. So
mean,
hell
they
yeah.
with Camp P and then
Hmm.
Jake Lewis, right?
Jake Lewis. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
and then obviously they were really competitive in Junior Cup with what's the kid's
this
name?
round
No, no,
or
like
last?
back in
Oh,
the day.
Kayla.
No, no.
Oh, back
Oh,
in the
Kayla
day.
too, but before Kayla,
Yeah.
it was the kid that has the disease that he can't ride anymore right now. shit. Such a good dude too. Anyway,
Drawing a blank. Sorry.
me too, man. Smash my head a lot. So like, short-term memory is like non-existent. You know what I mean?
That explains a lot.
But yeah, I mean, they've had massive success on that team, and and Jarrett, you seen him come along too, man. Like that. I mean, I don't know. Is he racing this year? Or I think he is.
Well
59, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but, he did great at Atlanta. So I think he finished 6th, if I remember correctly. Or
yeah.
maybe 7th.
I mean, the dude.
Atlanta.
I mean, he used to finish like 15th. So like,
man,
he's going faster.
And he came out. They came out to test at Chuckwalla. Like they would come out like in the winter. So a lot of the teams come out and do a round or two because it's the only place to be competitive in the winter.
Kevin Olmedo, thank you for that 848 Evo. Yeah, thank you for the boost there, buddy. Yeah, Kevin Olmedo, such a good dude
and fast.
It's fast as shit, right? So
so Jarrett, he would come out and do a round or two at Chuckwalla, and actually like. I think I could be wrong, but I think he got the 47s on the 600 before they even switched to the 750. I'm like, holy shit! Like that dude's moving, man. Yeah, it's pretty rad. So
I don't know.
I'm excited to see what he does this year.
I don't know what Jarrett's done to like step up his game, but definitely he's found something, and I'm super stoked for that guy. Because he's like a blue collar working class dummy like us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But he's a smart dude. Like we're idiots, and Jarrett's a pretty smart guy, and he stays in good shape and he puts the work in, man, and that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe we should have studied a little bit harder, been smarter.
I mean, I have a day job, like I pretend to be this motorcycle race dummy or whatever, but like I'm a IT director. Like I'm not like a full.
I literally just found that out tonight when you were trying to help me IT this fucking podcast.
Yeah. I was like, bro, I'm IT, right? You're like, what?
What? No.
Yeah, dude. Like, just a heads up, like, there's not a whole lot of living to be made being like a track day guy, like you kind of supports the habit basically, and that's about it. So, well, getting that call. So, how was it? Like, how did it work out? You showed up at Road Atlanta, and you're like, oh, cool. There's the Suzuki I got to ride now. Like, how does that go?
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I was in Denver, and then I think it was Chuckwalla, then Atlanta, and then we went to Podium Club. So, like, not a whole lot of time to sit on this, Mm-hmm. So when we went to CVMA, Jason Grant, you know who that is? You remember him?
I think
out
so.
of Colorado. Liam Grant.
Yeah. Liam Grant.
So his dad has an M4 1000. And so I slapped some Dunlops on it and took it for a ride on Friday practice at CVMA before Atlanta. And just to kind of wrap my head around it a little bit, because the bike is pretty similar. But, I mean, every bike is freaking different. Like you can get 10 of the same thing, and they're all different.
Yeah.
But Jason was super cool about it and let me ride his bike. And, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It did help because when I got to Atlanta, on Thursday, you got to take the pictures, you get to track walk and stuff. And Atlanta's fast, dude. Like a track walk doesn't know justice. So Friday morning, I was like, cool, I get to go ride this bike. And, we kind of worked on the ergos. It should be pretty good. We'll go out there and figure it out, go learn the track. Right before practice, we had a mechanical. And we actually didn't make it out for practice. So
it's a good thing MotoAmerica. It's a good thing MotoAmerica provides plenty of track time for stock 1,000 participants, right?
Yeah, like a whole 2 sessions before one session before it actually counts, right? Like Q1 is your second session,
right?
So I'm on a bike, I don't know, track, I don't know, tires, I don't know, but like ultimately, like I ain't making excuses. Like if I want to do this shit, like I just got to go fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
what? I'm gonna stop you just for a second. Kyle Wyman said the exact same shit. Like if you want to, we were talking about if you're racing stock 1,000 and you're thinking about racing superbike, he's like, dude, just do it. Like whatever you have, you don't need all the big forks and all that. Just go race superbike.
I mean, obviously, like Jake and Cam and those guys are like next level, right? But like, there's dudes that have done pretty well in the superbike class on a stock 1,000 bike.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, not lately, not the last few years, but.
It's happened.
Yeah. When Bobby Fong, remember Bobby Fong had that Cowie in stock 1,000. He was like, I think he podiumed once, right?
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey.
Dummy.
Team Green.
You can't say that, man. You're like a pro guy on a slow. I said slow Zuki.
You asshole.
You're on a Suzuki now.
And that thing's pretty damn fast.
Oh,
Actually,
dude, they're all fast, right? Like,
they
holy
make
shit.
power different.
Yeah.
Like it's just different. The Cowie's like riding a damn 2-stroke. Like you got to be on the pipe all the time. Your R1 is like, dude, I can lug that thing out. It don't
Yeah.
matter. It makes that torque. And the Suzuki's kind of in between, right? So it makes a lot of that mid-range power. And so, like, I didn't realize, like, riding the bike, I'm like trying to get used to like how fast I'm going because it's just different,
Yeah.
And but like I said, like, all right, back to it doesn't matter. Like the bike, the track, the tires, like that's what everybody else is doing. They all have the same conditions. So like we just got to go out there and fucking get after it. And so missing practice really sucked, honestly.
Yeah.
Because my first laps were in qualifying. The bike setup, like Brandon would ride the bike a lot differently than I would, and they just kind of threw his setup and notes in there. And I do ride a bike a little bit differently than a lot of people, I think. So we went out for qualifying. I did 8 laps. I'm like, dude, I told Mike Pond, I was like, man, there's no way I can ride this thing this way. Like, I mean, I'm doing it, but like, if we could do this, it'd be great for me. And we were limited on time. We had to qualify because we knew it was going to rain in Q2. And so he's like, here. And he did something with the front end. I have no idea what he actually did at that moment. And he's like, now go qualify. And so I did. And I mean, for me, I was pretty bummed about it. Like some people were like, oh, good job. Like for missing practice, it's great. And still like, I just want to be a fast guy. I want to be at the front, and it's like, so we qualified 25th, which I was bummed for the team and bummed for me, but missed Q2. And then we had a slipping clutch in race 1 a little bit, but we made it work. So in the races, I finished like 16th and 17th on the weekend, starting from 25th. And Road Atlanta, like I feel okay about that because passing there is like in the first half of the lap is pretty difficult. After that, you kind of single file and you can make it happen. But yeah, so pretty stoked, man. It was an awesome experience. And, it was great. It was a great test for the team, honestly, because with Eric passing, unfortunately, and Brandon's accident, the team didn't really get any testing on that program at all, and new crew chief and stuff. So,
dude, Mike Pond's been around for a minute, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for a while. He had his own team, Tune Racing, and he's really great with data and stuff like that. And so that was an obstacle because like Eric had the logins for data, and so Mike's trying to figure out where we stand on all this stuff. So
there wasn't like a trail of notes to lead everybody to the.
There was holes too, Yeah.
It sucks.
It does. But, the team did a great job. I mean, you could tell like some of the bikes finished well. Jarrett did well. Alessandro did well. Joel Amandrew did well. Like, hopefully, big surprise. If you don't know already, we're going back to Barber. So
you're going to ride that Altus thing at Barber, huh?
Let's go. Hell
right on, dude.
Yeah. So like I think the team's going to come out swinging, man. Like they put in some work between rounds, and I have a little bit better understanding of the bike. Barber's also another new track for me, but I'm really looking forward to riding Barber. I can't wait.
Dude, I went there with the team a couple years ago, and I was like, man, this place looks like a riot.
Yeah.
It looks like a short track though. It's kind of narrow, but it's like got a lot of elevation shit and.
Like they call like 15 turns, but like I watched a couple of videos. I was like, man, you like blow through this track pretty quick. It's like a minute and you got to go faster in a minute and a half. Let's just put it that way. Right. So it's a pretty fast lap.
Right.
So.
Yes. Podium club basically, right? Except like with better scenery.
Yeah. Much better scenery.
Oh, dude,
I can't wait to check all that out.
It's like the most beautiful. It's the most beautiful racetrack I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever. Cool. And yeah, honestly, dude, like you should go fly in a day early or something just so you could spend a day in the museum.
Yeah, we're gonna go in early actually. So I don't have any like obligations on Thursday really, except for I'd like to be there to help the team and get situated and stuff like that. I don't have to do any of the other stuff. So Thursday do a track walk. Try to figure out which turn one's left or right. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's left, but so Thursday, I'm going to try to spend some time doing some stuff like that. And then, like you said earlier, Stock 1000 doesn't have the most demanding schedules on the weekends. So it gives Stacy gets to go with me this time. So it gives us an opportunity to like cruise around and check out the facility and stuff like that. I made sure that she was coming because I really wanted to be there for her.
Stacy rides too, right?
Yeah, man. She rides. She's honestly, dude, she's a rock star. Like she rides, she hasn't been riding very much because she started focusing on her commercial pilots program.
Oh.
So she got a race license. She's done some races at Chuckwalla. She did a race at AFM, which she could tell you that story sometime. That was something else.
Right on.
That time that somebody got a fine for being an idiot. We'll
You
talk
mean
about that in
you?
a minute.
Like,
That guy.
I mean, yeah.
Hold on, I was in the middle of something.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I got a second.
Yeah.
So she's a rock star, man. Like, the whole team thing and riding, whatever. Like, you understand traveling and racing. Like, it's hard, man. Especially when you're by yourself, right? There's no freaking way that I could have done anything that I've done in the last couple of years without her. Like, we went to the Ridge, we went to Laguna, and of course I had an extra hand here and there, but like so when we went to the Ridge for my first ever MotoAmerica round, I raced on Saturday at Utah, and then we drove to the Ridge and I did a race with Wimra and straight from Utah, and then we flew home and then we flew back and we did MotoAmerica. So like we were working like 3.5 hours sleep the entire freaking 2 weeks,
Oh my God.
But dude, she was right there with it every step of the way, man. So,
Hey, everybody, that's the life of a privateer racer.
hey, you know what though? Like,
let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Honestly, I love it though. Like I show up in a beat up ass pickup truck with an old ass trailer. I roll my knife out of my trailer and I take it to a gunfight against some of these guys. And when I do well, it speaks volumes, man. It speaks volumes about heart and everything else and the effort. And so like that privateer game is solid. And so like Stefano, right? Like he was doing that. I remember seeing a video of him at like Pittsburgh changing his own tire in the middle of qualifying. I was like, dude, I idolize that. Like,
yeah,
that's just somebody who wakes up in the morning and said, I fucking want this,
Yeah, dude.
And that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
I have so much respect for you guys that do that. Like, man, I always say, like, I'm just a club racer and I'm super content with being that. But watching you guys going at it and doing the national thing and being like the traveling privateer, that's got to be so tough. And you guys are getting it done.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, we'll do it. Like, I'm really hoping that Brandan comes back sooner than later, man, for his own good, because like he's a beast on that thing, like I said earlier, and I know the team misses him, and it's his ride. Like, I'm just doing the best I can in the meantime, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. But once he comes back, I'm like, dude, like, hell yeah, I want to go finish the season. So I'm gonna call on Stacy into coming back on the road with me and doing a couple races overseas or over the country, Brainerd or wherever we end up. So
dude, Brainerd's such a weird place, but it's so fun. It's like,
I heard it's fun.
The people there, like, I was so stoked. I called my wife immediately after I heard a dude there answer a question I gave him with "You betcha." I was like, no shit. I called my wife. I was like, dude, this guy.
Say this.
I was like, oh my God, Lily, this guy said "You betcha." Holy shit, right? So
it's a real thing.
Yeah, like people actually talk like that for real.
Oh, so
not
funny.
Just in the Fargo movie, right?
Right.
So yeah, super funny.
So we'll see how that thing goes, man. But yeah, so this story about AFM, fucking idiot.
Yeah, we were all racing AFM that weekend, right? Like Ty was racing that weekend too, right? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh no. Ty just had a big off-it shock, and so like he bumped his head pretty hard and had a broken collarbone and stuff. But and that wasn't like the round right before. He was just still sidelined. So we got shortchanged to CVMA because they had this crazy windstorm. And it was my idea. I was like, "Hey, girls," talking to Rainey and Stacy and myself, and I knew Ty. Well, I call him a girl too, but I was like, "Hey, girls, like let's go to Buttonwillow and race AFM," and everybody was like on board. I talked them into it.
Yeah,
and it was a rough go, dude. It was a pretty rough trip for the whole team here. So but yeah, pretty wild. But like I was helping the girls, like I'm changing tires and I'm putting on swing arm guards and all this shit. And in the process, I had done a tire change on my own bike, but I needed the torque wrench for something else. So I popped the torque wrench off the socket, the big ass socket.
Yeah.
And I do whatever I was doing. Well, final call a few minutes later. And this is also the life of a privateer. Like you get strung thin, right? So final call comes up a few minutes later. I'm like, oh shit, I got a race, So I, get out there, or no, it was like qualifying or whatever, but I head out, go out and do my session, come back in, and somebody's like on the intercom and they're like, hey, if you lost your rear axle tool, we have it at the front, at timing and scoring or race direction or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, that was me. So I go walking up there and they're like, oh, is this yours? And I'm like, oh yeah, it was mine. And they're like, cool, here you go. And $100 fine or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Dude, I was so pissed.
Dude, you were so mad.
I was off my rocker, dude.
Like, I had to talk you off the ledge, bro.
Oh, I was losing it big time. And it wasn't even over the $100. It was over the fact that, like, like I actually care about safety and shit like that. Like I do tech at CVMA. I helped a little bit with tech at CRA. I've jumped in at USBA. Like I do this because I fucking care.
Right.
Like I love this sport. It's my little way of giving back. I get to talk to everybody when I'm walking through the tech line or whatever.
Yeah.
But dumbass tech guy leaves the fucking socket on, which means I didn't have my rear axle pinned or whatever, and I felt terrible. But then the salt in the wound was like they were being kind of like dickish about giving me the $100 fine, and I was like trying to reason with them, and they didn't even want to hear me out. And I was like, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm never racing with you guys again. And
Wow.
I was pissed. I was so pissed.
I've had a
and
few.
I made the mistake.
I've had a few moments like that with AFM over the years, but not like that, but like other things. But
yeah,
it's just I don't know. I mean, look, CRA at 2 weeks ago at Podium Club, they're like, look, if we see a tech violation as you're rolling out to the grid, we'll just pull you off and you'll be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I am, like, because it's for the safety, and like, and honestly, I'm a tech dude, right? Like, and I still made that mistake.
Yeah,
it could happen to any one of us,
Oh, for sure.
So shit happens,
Yeah.
So I appreciate that concern for safety, but at the same time, like, I was more bummed, man. I was bummed to myself, and it was a long
Like, I
weekend
just want to
already,
race, and now you're charging me money because I fucked up.
Yeah, now I can't afford tires.
It's like
and
rubbing salt in the wound, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you're like already
Yeah.
bummed that you fucked up, and then they charged you a fine on top of it to make it sting.
You know what's funny though is in the end they actually did not charge me the fine.
Oh, did they not?
I left there with race credits actually.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think I forget. I think I was talking to Daniel Reiser, and he was tight with Berto.
Yeah.
And so like things got around, and they're like, "Dude, the guy made a mistake. Like he's not an idiot." And he like, I felt really bad, and like
Yeah.
knew, like I just felt terrible about it. It was something stupid, but somebody could have gotten hurt.
Oh, totally.
So
I mean,
yeah.
I was out and I ran over a screwdriver or something and kicked it up at the guy behind me, and he thought that I had left it on my bike. He's like, "Was that your screwdriver?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I ran it over."
Yeah.
You're running over a screwdriver on track. There was one guy in tech when I was doing tech with CVMA. There was a guy that had a ratchet and the socket still attached to his shock linkage, and he rolled into tech like that. I'm like, "Bro, is that your ratchet?" He's like, "Oh." It's like, "Oh, good thing you found that."
Make sure you look at that one a little closer.
Yeah, dude. So that kind of stuff. I had a guy. I was doing tech at WSMC a million years ago, and the guy rolled up, and his belly pan on his bike was full of oil. And if you look behind him, there was like an oil mark all the way back to his pit in turn one. And he rolled up in his leathers like he was going to go out for practice, and he just stopped the tech on his way, thinking he was going to get a sticker. And he basically tried to pick a fight with me because I wouldn't give him a sticker. I'm like, "Bro, your belly pan's full of oil." He's like, "Fuck you, just give me a sticker. I'm ready to." I'm like, "Bro, you're not going anywhere. Like,
not happening.
That's not happening, dude." And he came back and apologized later, but like, dude, literally, he was wanting to go out, and his belly pan was full of oil, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, literally, like full, like to the most oil that all the oil in his bike was in his belly pan, basically, and there was like a oil slick all the way back to his pit from his rear tire.
Some people are not sensible, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, here's the people we're dealing with, and this is the growth of the sport, and this is what keeps the sport alive, right?
Oh,
like,
totally.
Guys like you and me, and that guy with the oil, and everybody else who shows up minus 1% at a CVMA or a CRA or a freaking track day, dude. Like,
yeah,
we all worked Monday through Friday and worked our asses off so that we can do something that we love so much on the weekends. As dumb as it might be, racing motorcycles, but these are the people that I idolize, man. Like, you guys are out there working your asses off all week long, and you still decide to come out to 100-degree heat in Phoenix to come race your motorcycle. Like, it just speaks to the kind of.
I didn't think it was too bad. I was like, "Bro, this is actually not that bad."
We had a pool, man, and it was good. Let me tell you.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, that stuff doesn't bother me. Like, I guess I'm a desert rat or something. I mean, riding bicycles in the heat too doesn't hurt.
That helps.
But that heat didn't bother me at all. But I saw some people really, like, one of the CRA staff members, Tina, dude, she sent us pictures of her ankles after the race weekend at Podium Club, and dude, her ankles swelled up like
Machine Reg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you talking about it.
Dude. And I was like, man, that sucks. I'm like, it didn't affect me at all. And we did the 18 lapper, and I was like, I remember getting the white flag in the 18 lapper, and I was like, that's it?
Yeah, dude, you guys did that, and I was running the pit board for Ty,
Yeah.
and then I stood out. And I did it for raining too, and they kicked ass in the races. Great job, guys. But after that, I took me a nap, dude. I was out for like I had my AC running, and I was like, they kept racing or whatever the hell was going on. I was like, no, I'm tired now. I went back to the trailer. I slept for an hour and a half, and then we had to race. I woke up like 20 minutes before the race, and I'm like, well, I guess I ain't doing tires or nothing else. I put gas in the bike and put my suit on all groggy and shit. Went out there and just did it, man.
Yeah.
I was hot even, so
Yeah.
I was not envious of you guys doing that 18 lapper.
At Podium Club on Sunday, I did skip Formula 40 race because it was like at the end of the day, and I was like, you know what, let's just pack our shit and go. We've already did 4 races. Let's fucking get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
And like not being part of government, you know, you don't have to stay till the end, you know?
Right.
Because for years, I was the last person that left the track, whether it was CVMA, CRA. I was like one of the last people to leave.
I seem to be that guy almost every time anyways, just because like...
Because you have shit everywhere and you're drinking your White Claws. Like,
hey, go fuck yourself. You know I don't drink either, right?
I know, I'm just teasing.
No, I just like I have so many friends, dude. Of like I just love seeing everybody in the paddock,
Yeah.
like the paddock life and the nightlife. And you know, a lot of the time I'm changing clutches or whatever in the evenings and shit. But like, dude, I love that. It's like that's almost as good as the racing, if not maybe even a little bit better. You know what
dude,
I mean?
my wife is like, "Can we fucking go now?" And I'm like, "No, but I still gotta say goodbye to that dude."
Yeah,
You know?
I haven't been on that half of the paddock yet. We can't leave yet.
Yeah. She always wants to box me for that to leave.
Yeah.
You know. But
oh shit.
All right, so I got a couple of questions from people. Ernie, you know, the bearded Gixxer, he's got a good question for you. Like he's the amateur guy on the Suzuki, and he was like, you know, if you're finishing mid-pack in amateur, how do you know if you're ready to move up to expert?
I mean, to me, it's like the amateur racing season is experience. You know, like the speed will come with a little bit of coaching, being around faster riders. It'll come with doing just having conversations, man. Like you could talk to me, you could reach out and be like, hey man, I'm at this track and I can't figure out this corner or whatever. Like you kind of leverage the people around you for that speed and the next step and how bad do you want it, right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna learn more of that by taking the step to expert. You know,
right.
Once you feel comfortable, like to go out there and be bar to bar with somebody and know that you're going to hold on to the motorcycle, even if they do something weird, go ahead and go to expert. You know, you're there. Like that's what amateur season is about. It's about trading a little bit of paint and getting used to it because when you move up to expert, there's a lot of that going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, you know, our buddy Ty Bankford has a couple of questions. He's like, did we talk about how slow Anthony is yet? And then people are like, whatever. And then he's like, well, let's talk about how slow Coiner is.
Wow, you guys can hash that one out, man. I'll stay out of that.
That's okay. Like, look.
I'm a few seconds up the road from both of you, so I'll let you do that.
See, Ty, see how bullies are? Huh? Right? Yeah. Okay. So, whatever. And then, you know, wins the Brainerd round. I don't remember when the Brainerd round
Brainerd is July.
It's right. It's after Laguna, right?
It's after the Ridge and Laguna, so it's the end of July. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost every year it's like that. And let's see here. Ty says 4 waves, and the first wave was in the S's before they started wave 4.
So that was the shitty story. That was AFM, yeah. So.
What race was that, dude?
This is the AFM ladies race. Right?
Okay.
So poor Stacy, she's raced one race in her life. She's raced one race in her life at Chuckwalla, at the Femwalla race at Chuckwalla. And you know Harm.
Yeah.
Jensen. So I'm so glad to see that guy's back and racing and doing well, man. So if you're
is he back? Because I know he
dude.
Yeah.
He didn't race, but he went out and rode and he went really well. So I'm really excited for him. But
because I know that dude has some big offs. So
big offs, but he'll do sub 50s at Buttonwillow on
bro.
6, right?
Yeah,
for an older guy, right? He's getting it. So Harm is like over Phil Hill, and Stacy and Rainey are still sitting on the grid waiting for the guy at AFM. So if you guys haven't raced AFM, and this is your sign, it's like 17 years later he turns it, and then 17 years later he puts it down, and then another 17 years later till you get the green flag.
Oh
He
my God.
starts,
He has the
dude.
little sticks, right? And he's like,
Oh, it's terrible.
and I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
everybody's like on the rev limiter for a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So Stacy and Rainey are like this, and they're looking over their shoulder, and they're watching Harm go over Phil Hill and into the sweeper back there. And this guy's doing his procedure nice and slow, and then boom. So Harm is cooking, and he's in a battle. And Stacy could tell the story better, but I'll tell you, she's going over the wheelie bump, right? She's coming at the wheelie bump on like lap 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And Harm and whoever he was battling, she was kind of just soft to the left. One guy goes through the dirt on the left. Harm goes through the dirt on the left-hand side in the wheelie bump. The other guy goes by simultaneously right past Stacy, and they're going 60 miles an hour, maybe not 60, whatever. They're going whatever ridiculous speed faster. And Stacy's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die out here."
They like sucked the paint off her bike.
100%, dude, 100%. And I'm sitting there, I'm almost crying. I was like, dude, I just totally, she's never gonna race again. Like I talked her into this. I felt so bad, But they did it, and they managed and dealt with it, But that was all part of the same AFM trip,
Yeah.
Like, it was rough, dude. Like they got to figure that type of.
I
shit
could
out.
understand why you guys all kind of left with a bad taste in your mouths after that.
I haven't raced with them since, man. And
No
honestly,
shit.
very unfortunately, it just has worked out that I haven't actually even ridden Button Willow since then. And I love that track. I'm itching to go back there. It just hasn't happened,
Yeah,
So,
I tried to scumbag you into doing a couple of CRA rounds, but it just never worked out.
yeah, well, I think they're doing one later in the year, and I'll probably make it there. Or I was thinking I might come out and do a track day with you boneheads.
Yeah, you know a guy.
I know a guy. Yeah.
But
Maybe
yeah,
they'll even let me ride or something.
I mean, I know a guy that could loan you a bike. I got a fleet of Yamahas, dude. Like, come on.
I don't need a loaner bike. I got like 6 Cowie motors torn apart right now. I'm like good to go. We'll be fine. I'll figure it out.
Wow. Well, between the 6 of them torn apart, you could put one together,
You would think.
right?
Yeah. No, actually, Fuzzy's got me down. He's got my motor coming in at the end of the week, so pretty stoked to have my bike back because I've actually been racing on a bike that was borrowed.
Yeah.
All this time, like the last couple of podium clubs and CVMA rounds, I've been on a borrowed bike, so it's kind of I'm looking forward to having a bike again.
Yeah, borrowing race bikes and me never worked out in the right way, man.
Well, you just yard sale.
Dude, I yeeted some dude's bike like in 2002 or something, and that was it, dude. Like this guy, it was an RC51. And
I love those things.
And it had Colin Edwards' signature on the tail section after he won the World Superbike Championship.
Like a pen signature?
Oh yeah.
A real signature?
Yeah, like a paint pen signature, and he clear coated over it, And Dimag wheels, like this fucking thing was like the $1 million RC51. And I turned in, tucked the front in the bus stop, and I watched it ramp the curbing and start flipping, busted the frame. Oh, dude, it was awful. And I kept the gas tank that I smashed off that thing for like 15 years because I was like, dude, just as a reminder,
100%.
Yeah. So like, I'm not really keen on borrowing dudes' bikes.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, I can't wait to have my bike back. Like it's just. Then I can really go ahead and kick flip it out in the middle of the desert if I want to, if I'm trying to chase somebody down.
And by the way, I did take care of that dude's bike. I mean, like
I imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
you gave him a R3 or something.
Yeah, like it's not like I've heard people say, "Well, what? You're the team owner," right? And I'm like, bro, this guy was not the team owner. He was like. He loaned me a bike. I had to make sure he was right, and I did. And I brought the bike back better than it was. I believe I even got the Colin Edwards signature on the new tail section. So that was a lot of work.
Was cool.
But Colin Edwards is a legend. So like
that guy's awesome. Have you seen that? It's on Amazon. It's called "Speed Is My Need," and it opens with Colin Edwards.
No way. I'll have to check it out.
You have to watch it. Like. I just remember the line from that, and we talk about it all the time and reference it. You're talking about earlier stabbing your boy in the neck or whatever, like when you get on the grid. So Colin's like, like you roll up on the grid and you look left and you look right and you tell him, I'm going to rip off your head and shit down your neck, he says, or whatever.
Right.
That was his mentality. And I'm like, hell yeah. Like, let's go to war. Like, I love that stuff, man.
Dude, I
That's what
miss having
wrestling's
a
about. But
like. It's been a while since there's been a guy like Colin Edwards anywhere. I mean,
yeah,
Gagne will do the nose pick thing sometimes, but like, Colin Edwards doing that shit in World Superbike on the podium, like looking up at his nose, like picking his nose on TV. It's like, wow, after winning,
yeah, yeah.
legend, legend,
Dude,
dude.
just like super raw, right? Like
Yeah,
like motocross is so I think it's so successful in the
yeah,
States because it's fucking raw. Like a dude will get up and punch another guy for hitting him. Like I'm like hell
yeah.
yeah, like and then they take each other out. And
I think
obviously, I'm
part
not
of it
saying I
too.
want that,
I
but
think part of it too, Supercross and all that super successful because the fans can actually see the whole race. You know?
well, that and I can relate a little bit easier. Like you can take your BMX bike off of a jump, but you know, even if you haven't ridden dirt bikes, like you can kind of see that and relate. And it's big. It's kind of like it's a spectacle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what we do, like people don't realize, like when you're good at what we do, it looks like poetry, right? But
Right.
it's fucking lunatic, right? Like you're going Mach 7 into a corner and you're sliding the back end and you're dropping the front end and the front end starts to slide and you're
And you're
getting your
back
elbows
shifting
around the
all at the
ground.
same time, right?
Yeah, dude. And so if you've never experienced this, like you're like the response I get from everybody, wow, you're crazy. I'm like, that's besides the point. But like, dude, let me tell you how amazing and talented this is. I'll show a video of
Yeah.
somebody and like, hey, dude, like this is fantastic. But if they don't do it, they'll never understand. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So
I mean,
it's hard to relate.
I try to give some people a little bit of an understanding sometimes with the two upright thing. That I think that
Right.
kind of helps, but
Oh, for sure.
but
Yeah.
it's still like not doing anything crazy. But um,
They get it. They start to get it.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my god, I can't believe you're braking that hard for that long, and I'm like, yeah,
Dude, that was the coolest thing, by the way, you did with that guy, the guy who
the
was
blind
visually
dude.
impaired. Yes.
Yeah, he wasn't
Dude, I
vision
was like,
impaired. That dude was straight up
I
blind.
know, I know, I know. But I was like, dude, that's heartwarming, man. Like, that was too cool. Like,
Dude, I love
kudos.
sharing my sport with others, and like
100%.
this dude, I was told that he's like kind of like an adrenaline junkie guy, does skydiving and shit, like parasailing. They're
Hell
like,
yeah.
hey, would you be opposed to doing a two up ride with a blind guy? And I'm like, fuck, I guess,
As long
like
as he can
let's do
hold
it.
on. Yeah.
And we put him on the bike or whatever, and it's you always tell the passenger to do a certain thing, like look over your inside shoulder and stuff. But this dude's blind, so I just had to adjust my pace accordingly. And but yeah, there was a moment where like we were ripping through Riverside, and he tilted his head towards the inside. I was like, "Fuck yeah, bro!"
Yeah.
And
Nice.
when he took his helmet off, his ear to ear grin said everything.
Oh, I can
I was like,
imagine.
man, I
Yeah.
was like, that is the best thing ever. And I got a lot of
Hell
phone
yeah.
calls after that. They're, from
Mhm.
rando people that I hadn't talked to in years. They're like, man, that was so cool that you did that. I'm like,
Oh, for sure.
was it? Like, I was just like, I was just showing the dude a good time. I didn't even think anything
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
mean,
it was
again, it's
cool.
just one more thing that speaks to the sport. I mean, that specifically speaks to you, but like our sport is filled with amazing people that would totally like do something cool like that for somebody. You know what I mean? Like we do it for the ones within, but we would do it for the ones without too. So
Yeah, and there's a Ernie is saying he's reminding me about wheels. There's a paralyzed dude wheels that races CRA on a Ducati, right?
oh, I know who
Like
that is. The yellow one, right?
what a
Yeah.
legend that dude is. Such a cool guy.
So we had a guy come out to truck this year too. So he had to have somebody hold him up on the grid, and
Yeah.
then boom, he goes on the grid. So like, dude, that type of shit is motivational.
The
Like,
the the first
how am I
guy
ever gonna bitch?
The
You
first
know?
guy I ever saw do that was Stuart Goddard in the late 90s. And
Mhm.
Stu Goddard was the guy that would hang out at Newcomb's Ranch on Angeles Crest, right? He had like this pimped out Honda 900RR with the landing gear and shit. And I guess
Yeah.
he would leave a wheelchair at the Newcomb's, So Sunday morning, dude, he'd roll up, put his landing gear down, and somebody would roll his wheelchair out, and he would just jump in the chair and hang with everybody. And
That's too cool, man.
I can remember him racing at WSMC, and like, he started at the back of the grid. Somebody held his bike up, and I guess he velcroed his feet to the pegs, and
Yeah.
he went out and raced. Dude, he did nationals, the Aprilia Cup Challenge, in the
Hmm.
late '90s. It was like that two-stroke production 250 thing that Aprilia had.
I was barely born.
Dude, he did that, bro. Like he was racing the National Aprilia Cup Series,
That's pretty rad, dude.
you know.
Like I was actually having a rough day at Chuck one day, and I looked up and had a conversation with this guy. I'm sorry, I really can't remember his name. Richard knows his name. He'll never forget him either.
Yeah.
But I was kind of having a rough day, and I was beating myself up about whatever lap times or whatever, And I was like, dude, I'm being the world's biggest bitch right now. Like this guy is just having the most fun of his fucking life doing this, and here I am crying about 2/10 or something. It's
Right.
like, get the fuck over it. But like, I made a post today because I was kind of thinking about the same thing. I posted a wheelie picture, and I was like, dude, don't forget why we did this. Like, we take this shit pretty seriously.
It's supposed to be fucking fun, dude.
It's supposed to be fucking fun, Like, and like Fuzzy will text me like if he's not at the track because he helps me a lot. It's one of the hundreds of people that help me a lot. Which we need to get into that.
Me too.
At some point, yeah.
Me too.
So, but he'll text me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm struggling with this. He's like, dude, are you having fun? Like, go have fun. Like, what are you fucking doing? Like, go have fun. As soon as you put a smile on, bam, there's a half a second, just like that.
Dude,
oh wow, that's
Fuzzy,
how that works.
when he was working with me at Chuckwalla, he's like, dude, you're riding like an idiot right now. Just go out and have fun. He's like, he's like, if you're not doing wheelies out of every corner, then you're not doing it right. I'm like, okay. So I go do a session. Actually, it was qualifying. So it earned me a nice one-way conversation with Jay Tanner. Like, really, man? In fucking qualifying? And I'm like, that's my line, bro. Right? And yeah, like I was doing wheelies everywhere back then, and then I would go out and shake off whatever funk I had, and then I would go fast again,
Yep.
And yeah, the new bike doesn't do that, It's got so much nanny shit. It doesn't really do that, but I still have fun on the thing. Like it.
Oh yeah.
In a different way though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's like that's how it is. Like even in Atlanta, because I had to go out for qualifying or whatever, and I was kind of like flustered. I think Mike was like, dude, go rip a wheelie or something, or like, dude, just like go have fun. Like just fuck it. Who cares? Go have fun and get your head in the right spot.
Yeah.
Because it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? We're about an hour and 45 into this already, bro.
I could keep talking.
I know, dude.
Everybody's probably gone already. It's probably just me and you.
It's all 7 people, right? It's yeah.
Again? Oh, still, you guys rock.
I think I don't know. It says 18. I don't know, but there's people commenting and stuff. But they're all commenting.
Anything good?
Yeah, I mean they're just talking.
Talking shit.
Yeah, Ty Bankford's like, let's put her in 7th and let her eat.
Oh, yeah. It's that joke, apparently. Yeah, I don't even get that one, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
Fill me in.
But yeah, I mean, it's all basically our homies talking shit. It's just awesome.
Good.
I love that.
Hey, I love you guys. I'm going to say that right now. All the friends, everybody who tuned in, everybody who watches this later. Thanks. It's pretty rad. Like 2 idiots like me and Dustin just in here bullshitting, talking motorbikes, talking motorbikes.
Talking about motorbikes. That's my favorite thing. Talking to cool people about my favorite thing is talking motorbikes. So it kind of works.
Yeah.
And
so if you don't mind.
Yeah, really quick, what's your goal at Barber, man? Like
to fucking win the race. What are you talking about?
Fuck yeah, bro. Like that's the animal I want, dude. But seriously, like what's your
Hey, we talked right before racing and everything happened at Atlanta. I was walking through and it was what's his name? You were talking to him on the phone and he was like, "Oh, there's Lugnut." And he handed me the phone.
I don't remember,
man. RGB Motorsports.
Oh, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Right? Cool dude, man. I love that guy. He was really nice to me. He was very inviting. So like, say what's up if you're watching. But I talked to you on the phone, and one thing you said was like, take risks. Like that's what we got to do sometimes. Like, and I kind of didn't, And so honestly, like, I'm not gonna go out there and try to send this shit to the moon.
Yeah.
But like, I know the bike a little bit. I think this is my kind of track. Like, I'm gonna go out there and see what we can put down on this thing.
You're like, I'm gonna go and hit it through your pin, bro. Like, send it.
Yeah, bro. We're gonna fucking send that shit, man. Close my eye. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna twist the throttle, and I'm gonna hope for the fucking best.
Just tell Mike Pond to wire your throttle wide open.
That's it. Yeah. He'll probably hear this at some point. So, Mike.
All right. So, I know that you want to give some love to your supporters and stuff. So before we wrap this up, I just figured I'd let you roll with that.
Yeah, man, it's a long list, and so,
dude,
as of recent though, like, what's up?
You earned it, dude. Like, I mean, look, all those people help you out, man. So I have no beef with you, like pimping out the people that help you out because it helps keep the wheels turning.
Oh, 100%, man, and like these people deserve it. Like, I still think, I'm a nobody. I'm a 9 to 5er, but like these people see something in me, or they like me personally, or they just feel bad for me because I'm a little retarded and they want to help me out. So obviously, first and foremost, the Apex Assassins, like this team keeps the wheels going. That's for damn sure. Richard is the captain of the ship. And so thank you, Richard. Thank you, Apex Assassins. Blood Lubricants. I've had their oil on the bikes for a few years now. It's been good stuff. CT Racing and 61 DTC with Pirelli. Best tires in the market. Just saying, want to go faster, buy some Pirelli to set up CT or CGG at the track. Recently Legal Ride and Crossbeam Builders, those guys jumped on board to kind of help me make this whole MotoAmerica thing happen, because even just travel and logistics is really expensive.
Yeah.
So Legal Ride, like we were riding at Spring Mountain together. That's Damon. He's a huge representation in the Vegas area. Also in Phoenix, they just opened up a new place. So if you guys are on the streets being little hoons and you need some help, hit up Legal Ride. Or if you want a custom house built in Utah, there's some beautiful landscape up there. Chris from Crossbeam Builders, look them up. But some of the smaller stuff too, like Galford and Graves and Vortex, and the guys all help me out. We mentioned Fuzzy, Vortex, changing sprockets. Just saying, yeah, it all counts, man. Good stuff. I love them. They look pretty. But Fuzzy too, man. Fuzzy, like he adopted me at some point in time, and he's been a key player in me getting faster. So that's another thing. If you guys want some help with the motorcycle, find a guy you trust that knows what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
Or call Fuzzy.
Oh yeah.
And he'll help you get going fast.
Dude, Fuzzy translated my feedback, my stupid feedback of like, dude, it feels like a melting ice cream sandwich. And he looked at me like, what the fuck did you just say? But then, dude, he fixed it and it worked, and I went faster,
He's got a sweet tooth, so he understood exactly what the hell you're talking about.
Dude.
Yeah. Fuzzy Moto, though. Fuzzy Moto, if you guys need some help, So I'm wearing this Pikey Coffee shirt. These guys are great, too. The local coffee shop. If you're ever in Vegas, check it out. They got some badass old school motorcycle stuff. It's a motorcycle-themed coffee shop. So they jumped on board to help out as well.
By the way, Linda Norton says mom supports him, too.
My mom does support. I talked about you earlier. Honestly, one of the best Okay, so quick story, Mom, since you're listening, and I know this now.
Oh, wow.
Love you. So Mom hated me riding motorcycles, first of all. I did a wheelie on the old SV in front of her, and she nearly had a freaking heart attack. So when I started racing, obviously she had her reservations. My dad passed away, and that was a very emotional thing for me. It happened right after I started racing, and part of the reason why I'm as motivated as I am is because of my dad too. But Mom knew that. I think she knew I was hurting. She decided she was going to bury her reservation and she's going to come support me at a race. She'd come out to Chuck Walla, watch me race. It went well, whatever. Next race, Button Willow, not so much. It was a Warrior weekend, and it was great. I was kicking ass. I was racing with Sahar and Toby, and it was fun. And the last race of the weekend, she was standing on the tower, of the start and finish line, and I tossed it in turn one, big time. Bike yard sale. It was just a big old, thing. And I got up kind of laughing because it was such a great weekend, and for me it was casual. But like everybody's like, well, that was Lugnut, and my poor mom, she probably had a heart attack.
Oh my God.
But she stuck around. She seen I was okay. So Mom is one of my biggest fans, and it means a lot to me to have like my mom, my sister, my nieces. So my nieces are playing softball right now, kind of missing the game. So I can't wait to go back and rewatch from the beginning. But they're little badasses too. They're more badass than I am with their softball stuff and everything else. So like having the family support's amazing. I know not everybody has that. So love you, Mom. Nice to know you're watching.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, tangent.
Dude, this is exactly what this show is, right? Like it's just real,
100%.
like however it goes. Well, man, you know what? It's been a great show, Anthony, and I appreciate you spending nearly 2 hours talking shit with me about motorbikes, man. I fucking love that.
Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, dude. Maybe we'll check in after your barber experience.
Let's do it.
All right, buddy.
Only if all like 12 of these people that might have watched tonight are okay with it, of course.
Yeah, that. Okay, like Ken Hill.
Right.
Ken Hill's like, well, we'll let your viewers decide. Shut the fuck up, man.
Oh, I was like, is he watching?
Probably, dude. Ken watches most of these, so yeah, dude. Honestly, man, maybe he'll have some coaching for you too. I don't know.
I've talked to him in the past. He actually helped me with something I was struggling with. So, and he's helped Stacy a lot too. So Ken's a good guy.
Yeah, man. All right, dude. Well, let's wrap this thing. Yeah. Peace out.